And we are live. What's good, Josh and man, DL Saint? Welcome. I really want to know podcast. What's happening? Getting back into it, man. I'm starting to getting the dust off. I'm starting to get the you know what I'm saying, getting all the rust off, learning how to rework the soundboard and all that good stuff. So yeah, guys, had a long day. I'm tired, but I really want to have this conversation, man. You know, talking about dating, bro. Is the dating game worth playing in today's sexual marketplace, man? That's the question. Let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed, man. What's good? What's going on out there, man? How y'all feeling, brother Pitney? How you feeling, man? Shout out to you, man. You know what? Forget that, bro. You get the Don DeMarco, bro. You get the Don DeMarco.
Dom DeMarco.
Shout out to you, man. The day one. You know what I mean? Appreciate you, man. And I'll be watching, you know, I still keep up with what's going on. I might not be streaming, but I'll be, you know, behind the scenes doing what I'm doing. And whenever there's a good conversation going on, or whenever you want to know if someone has a good podcast that's, you know, out there putting in work, you will see this man in the chat, and I'll let you know you are on the right track right there, man. Mr. Pitt be in there keeping it 100, man. So always a pleasure to see you, bro. Hope all is well on your end. All is well on this end. Yeah, man. We got to talk about this, man. This conversation is really going on in the trenches out here, bro. It's really going on out here, bro. The conversation, like, you know, in everyday life, when I go out and I don't really get an opportunity to get out and just kick it whenever I'm out, I'm networking or working, you know what I mean, somewhere in between. But when I do get an opportunity to go out and just, you know, just silk it, or if I am someplace, you know, at the bar, or, you know, just someplace chilling and there are a lot of women around, man, they are coming up and asking these questions, bro. So, you know, I said this to Myron and Fresh on Fresh and Fit, man, over 2 years ago. I'm like, man, I'm telling you, this RP thing is going to go mainstream, and I believe we are there. Oh, we got a double OG in the building. What's good?
Dom DeMarco.
Brother Dino Dinosaur's in the building, man, checking in from the UK. Cheers, mate. How you feeling, man? What's going on over there, bro? What's going on, cousin, on the other side of the ocean? What's happening over there? Because it's falling apart over here, man, little piece by little piece, man. We're slowly falling apart, but that's how it works. We're going to hopefully put it back together again, you know what I mean, in a few years. But it's crazy over here, man. It's good to see you too, brother. It's good to see you. Yeah, man, the not so little one, she's doing her thing. She's actually normally for the summertime, she goes with her mom. She'll be with her mom during the summertime when she's out of school, and she comes back home for school. But this year she hit me up like, Papa, come get me. You know, and she wasn't, you know, I don't think it was like a week or 2 weeks, barely a week. Papa, come get me. Like, all right, picked her up, and she's been home ever since. You know what I mean? Bro, thank you, man. Shout out, man. Look, thank you, bro. For real. Like you, brother Pitt, man, Jay, like, you know, Mike, you know, bro, all the day ones, man. Mandrell, you know what I mean? Like all the day ones, bro. I really appreciate y'all, man. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna stick with this. Hopefully one day we get to a point where, you know, we can make a dent and people will come here and we can really have some good conversations. Like what I'm seeing with the red pill, right? There are dudes out there. I'm talking about the guys who are really trying to focus and become the best version of themselves and figure out how to get themselves a good woman. Those are the men and those are the women that I'm, you know, trying to reach. You're always gonna have your, you know, the wild boys out there just talking crazy, whatever. You're gonna always have your black pillars and, you know what I mean, your MGTOW guys and all that. But I'm reaching, and I've been from day one been trying to just, for those people who want to have a real conversation about everything, man. You know, we could talk about finance, we could talk about dating, we could talk about politics. and just, people know they can come over here and have a decent conversation, man, and hopefully take some away from it, definitely contribute, and we can all think about what's going on, bro. So shout out to you, man. I appreciate you, man. I didn't see that. I've been busy all day, bro. I have no idea what's going on in the news today. July 2nd, 2025. I have no idea what's going on in the news today, bro. So we're gonna, at the end of the show, man, remind me, man, we'll look it up and I'll have a look at it. Wow, another plane crash, huh? We'll look at it, man. So, damn. It's like, bro, you take a breather, you go away. It's like so much happens in like a news cycle, a 24-hour news cycle these days, man. It's insane. Like, I don't know what's going on in the Middle East. I'm waiting for Iran and Israel to do something else. You know what I mean? Because people are like, oh, it's a ceasefire. Like, nah, bro, they're reloading. They're refurbishing. Like, I think Iran ran out of missiles. They're building more. Same with Israel. They're like waiting for more stuff to get delivered. And then you see what happened in Ukraine yesterday. Ukraine launched kamikaze drones and deep into Russia, hitting some factories. That was yesterday, bro. Like, who was really talking about it? Now here we had the firemen. They got ambushed by that weirdo dude out in Idaho. It's so much happening, bro. Like, and then we got the alligator Alcatraz. We talked about that yesterday, but that's going on. We still have the deportations, and the sweeps and the ICE raids, and bro, it's a lot going on. The American debt crisis ain't went nowhere, right? The repo market was looking funny yesterday. There's so much going on, guys. It's virtually impossible to keep up. Like, you got to figure out, okay, what do I want to talk about? Like, what's crazier today? And my big thing is, Americans, man, we can't afford America. I mean, think about that, man. You could be making $70,000 a year in certain spots in America, like really any of the big cities. $70K a year, bro, and you're barely making it. Think about that. Barely making it. Right? And then the average is $20,000 under that. So we're gonna be talking about that moving forward as well, man. It's getting rough, man. But it is what it is. You know what they say, man. Weak men create hard times create strong men create easy times, and easy times create weak men. I mean, I think I butchered that, but you guys know it. Brother Pitney, he'll put the true quote in the chat. He'll put the true quote in there so y'all can read it the way it's supposed to be read. 270 lost, 270 lost a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks ago. No, that was 2 to 3 weeks ago with the Indian man. Wow. Like, bro, I'm out of it, man. And you're right, brother. Like, Brother Dino, man, it's all over it. Like, Trump doing this thing. America wanted chaos by the hour, sadly. That half of us did. Half of us did. There were a lot of people who didn't think about it. And we're going to talk about that as well. Like, Americans just aren't thinking or don't have time to think or just don't have the ability to think or whatever to think stuff through. You look at Latin America, you look at the Latino America community and those Latinos who voted for Trump. And now those very same Latinos are being deported and saying, what's going on? What's going on? We're going to be talking about that, bro. Because I know you love the political talk, man. So we're going to be talking about that moving forward. There it is right there. I told you, Brother Pitney was going to put that up there. You know what I mean? Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. And then it goes around and around and around. And that's a fact. When I first heard that, it blew my mind. I was like, yeah, but that's true. That is true. Diddy. Did the jury ever come to a consensus on that last what was it? There were 4 verdicts. They needed one more verdict, and it was the RICO thing. They couldn't make up their mind on that. I'm waiting for that to all the way shake out. I honestly believe that whatever happens, I think Sean Combs already bought himself a pardon from the White House. That's my personal take on that. I don't think he's really worried about it. You know what I mean? But that RICO case was the biggest one. That's the one that carried all the time. If he beats the RICO, the racketeering charge, if he beats that charge, he's probably only looking at some years. But if that racketeering charge sticks, now he's looking at life. So crazy, man. Crazy. Let's get into it, man. And while I was on my hiatus, I was gone, lost in the sauce, however you want to put it. Man, I appreciate everyone reaching out to me, man, like hitting me up on Instagram, you know, hit me up in comments, reaching out to me, checking up on me, man. I truly, truly appreciate y'all, man. Thank you. For real. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I haven't just been sitting around doing nothing, twiddling my thumbs. I've been working on some stuff. You know, we got the Spoken in Smoke podcast, which is Will Golston's podcast. And if you guys don't know, Will Golston's 12-year NFL vet, Super Bowl champion for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and good friend of mine. And he's a really solid brother. He's gonna, you know, he asked me to produce his podcast, and that's what I've been doing. And we're shooting. We shoot it live. Correction, we don't shoot it live. We shoot it in studio. We shoot it in studio. He has a cigar lounge here in Tampa, and it's called Elena's Cigar Lounge and Hookah Lounge. It's really nice. If you're ever in Tampa, you definitely got to check it out. So we shoot there. So, you know, like coordinating interviews and coming up with topics and, you know, mapping out, you know, our 1 year, 3 year, 7 year plan. And that's what I've been doing. And I mean, thank goodness I've had the experience I've had over the past few years, you know, working in the podcast space, going down to Miami, you know what I mean? Shout out to Myron and Fresh. I know a lot of people like, man, y'all fell out. Like, no, man, it was, hey, man, shit happens sometimes. I still have the highest respect for those brothers. They paved the way, and I've been watching. And I learned a lot. I was there. I was behind the scenes. I got to see all the secret sauce. And Myron and Fresh told me, like, this is how this works and that works and do this and do that. And I haven't forgotten. So they've really given me the tools needed to be a really good producer. And I couple that with my experience in LA doing short films and the stuff that we were doing out there. I mean, bro, shout out to them. Let me get them boys at Don DeMarco. I'm not quite sure what's going on.
Dom DeMarco.
In the Fresh and Fit world, I haven't been able to really keep up. I know that Fresh is doing his thing, but it's all under the same umbrella. And I know Myron was doing his thing, you know, with the political stuff and all that. And I think Myron is still real active on X, and Fresh is still networking. So shout out to them boys, and you know, continued success to them. Brother Dino was saying jury 8 men 4 women. Did he be enough cast? It was not part of the case. That's strange, don't you think? Yeah, I mean, that RICO thing, you know, the whole thing with the RICO, and we'll say this and then we'll get into what we want to get into today. We're going to be talking about this dating thing. We found a really good interview out there, so we're going to get into that in a second. But it's really hard. Like, the RICO statute was created to break the mafia, and it works with organized crime. So you have like a big organization like the mob or a cartel or a gang, you know, like the Bloods, the Crips, you know, the Latin Kings, you know, Armenian Power, like whoever the gang may be. RICO was great for breaking those organizations because you can just be a peon, the dude who's like driving, or you just sit out front and you looking at a life charge because everyone gets the same time. So that's how they get you to, like, look, you're going to go down for life unless you give us this information or wear a wire or do this, that, and the third. And most of those people, almost all those people, like, yeah, I'm going to tell. I don't want to do time because I didn't do nothing. I wasn't making any money. I'm not the top of this enterprise. So, yeah, I'm going to get you what y'all need so y'all can get the boss. That's why RICO was created. RICO really isn't for, in my opinion, I don't think the RICO case for someone like Sean Combs, who's just a sexual deviant and, you know what I mean, like schizo dude, you know what I mean? Like, he's just out there. I don't think that the RICO really works. You know, I mean, unless he really was moving weight, you know, like moving illegal substances, if he really was trafficking people across state lines. But what he was doing was just these freakouts. He was just kid in the candy store, man. He's like flying people all over the world to come and, you know, use all the baby oil up and all that. So, man, it's really hard to make, you know, someone like Sean Combs. So back to the assault. Everyone saw the assault. It was like they had the cameras rolling and got the footage, and Sean Combs and his people allegedly paid folks off to kind of bury that footage until it surfaced later. But that assault was just an assault. It's kind of hard to say that his criminal enterprise was going around just beating random people. Although he, allegedly did beat a bunch of people and hurt some folks, but I guess they weren't able to get that in. Maybe it was the statute of limitations. Maybe they were able to argue that that's not part of this. So they threw that, they didn't use that, but it didn't help. Like for the jury to see that, well, they already saw that. You can't unsee it. This kind of goes to who this dude is. And it's funny too, because a lot of people be talking, saying what you want to say about the Tates. Think about it. What Sean Combs was doing, and over here in America, people like, yeah, man, we know he was doing it. He's a deviant. He's this, he's that, blah, blah, blah. All these people came out, people trying to get money, people trying to get him locked up. And he still might beat this case. Compare that to the Tates and what they say the Tates were doing. You see how it's like two different things. If the Tates were doing a quarter of the things that Sean Combs was doing, bro, them dudes would be locked up in Romania. So not to, I'm not saying that the Tates are angels. I'm just saying Sean Combs is the real dude who's out here doing dirt. That's like, you want to look at somebody like, yo, that's Lucifer over there. The Tates are just, people, those are two guys that people love to hate. They just don't like them guys. You know what I mean? But that's crazy, man. But I think that, maybe there was something to do with statute of limitations, or maybe that, the part of the case involving him beating up on Cassie, because we saw that. That's not even alleged. Like we saw what he did. That's and I haven't even been following that case. Man, I just wanted to wait till it was over and then analyze the whole thing. So the RICO didn't stick. But I know they were trying to get the jury to deliberate further and try to come up with a verdict on that. So again, I haven't seen anything since yesterday. I don't know if it's over. I don't know if they dismissed the jury, and if they did, that they still have to announce, the time, like the sentencing. He's gonna have to have a sentencing hearing. So Combs was convicted on 2 lesser counts of transportation to engage in pay for play. Oh, okay. He was also acquitted of all sex trafficking charges. So that's the big stuff was, so all that money, all that time, he gonna wind up getting time served and maybe be on parole, like be on paper, like probation for a while. His career's over, but how much money does he have? Where is the money? And then all the civil cases are gonna come, like people are gonna come and sue him. So, man, that's crazy. I'm definitely gonna look into that. Maybe this weekend or early part of next week, we'll do an episode and just kind of break the whole thing down, because all the lawyer channels are breaking it down. So we can just kind of watch that and then get the final on what happened with that. So crazy, bro. Crazy. They say money turns you into that, but that's not true. I think money just magnifies who you really are deep down inside in them dark corners of your soul. I think the money just lets that beast out. And look what came out with Sean Combs. So, all right, that's that. I'm definitely gonna be looking into that, guys. Definitely gonna be checking it out. We could turn on I'm turning on this feature. The chats will scroll up the screen, so I'm gonna put it there. See, look at that. StreamYard lets you do that now, just like Twitch. So, y'all let me know if y'all want me to keep that on the screen or take it off, or let me, because I normally show them. I normally show them like this, but y'all let me know. Oh man, so Sean Combs, Puffy is gonna be sentenced October 3rd. Wow. Yo, is he gonna be on parole? They're gonna let him out until then, or does he have to stay in jail until his sentencing October 3rd, end of the year? They might just tell him to stay in jail. October 3rd comes around, he'll get sentenced, and it'll be time served plus 10 years of parole or probation, 10 years of probation. Who knows? Yeah, see the thing with the Tates, which I haven't been following that either. I said it from the very beginning. I think it's just a bunch of people who don't like Andrew and Tristan. They're just trying to get them. I think it's some personal vendettas there. It might be people that the Tates got over on or something. I think that's what it is. June 22nd. I think they're gonna keep kicking that can down the road until it just finally goes away. I don't understand, or I am not familiar with the UK court system, but it's real similar to ours. So I mean, you have to have credible witnesses and you have to have proof. And I don't think that any of that exists. Brother Pitch, like, no bail for Puffy, huh? Okay, so he's gonna have to sit there, no bail. He's gonna have to sit there. But I think when this is all said and done, they're gonna hit him with time served, and he's gonna get probation. It's probably gonna. It could be like, a long, lengthy probation, like 10 years or something like that. And they're like, if you do anything, you spit on the sidewalk, you jaywalk, we're gonna throw you in there. You're gonna finish your sentence. It might be something like that. But we'll stay tuned. We'll stay tuned, bro. And I'm definitely, I'm keeping one eye on the tapes just to see what happens there. But I really think that, like when this thing dropped with Sean Combs, I'm like, yeah, bro. Personally, I'm like, yeah, I bet you that guy did it. I bet you he's grimy, he's dirty. I know I just know folks in the business. I've heard so many stories. Again, nothing that I didn't see myself, so it was all alleged. Like, I couldn't say that this really happened, but I know people that I know, and they was like, yeah, bro, we was doing this and that, and this is how he did this, and this guy moving like that, and these move. So I'm like, damn, for real? And it's people I trust. So when the thing with the tapes happened, I was like, I don't really think that's a thing. Like, I really don't think that's a thing. I mean, I just think there's some people mad at him. Some females might be mad. They may be trying to get over. That's what I thought. That's the difference between the two. I'm like, man, I don't know if Andrew and Tristan are that wild. You know what I mean? That demented. But someone like Sean Combs, yeah. yeah. Yeah, a lot of that stuff, the stuff that they were saying on the podcast, like, it's very damning. But again, over there, y'all got solicitors. The solicitors can make the argument that, like, he was in character. And that's a strong argument. Again, I'm not saying that the Tates ain't do it. I'm not saying that they're not guilty of whatever. But people keep pointing to the podcast and what he was saying and this and that. Very vague, it's like, hey, was he in character? Was he talking about himself, or was he talking about someone else? You know what I mean? And then you bring people in and like, well, the story he told was actually about me. And it's like, oh, right. So that hearsay it's hard to lock somebody up for some real time on hearsay. It's hard to do it. Now, again, I don't know the process over there in the UK, man. It might be a way to do it. They might be able to stitch him up somehow. I don't know. But, it makes good TV, don't it? We're going to keep watching. So, man, let's get to what we came to talk about. Let's get to it. So this podcast, pretty good podcast. And the title of it is Modern Men Dating Woes and WTF is Going On, a raw conversation with Jeff James. Part one is a two-parter. And the podcast is two females sharing my truth podcast. They're both in the description below. Please go, check out their podcast, support them. They got like over 4,000 subscribers. They're doing their thing. They're consistent. And I mean, it's definitely, you would, definitely call it female, definitely call it blue pill. But at least they're asking. You can tell, especially with this episode, it was very sincere. The ladies were paying attention. They were listening and asking good questions. I skipped over the part where the brother was telling about who he is. He's a licensed therapist. He's out of Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there now. Like, I'm watching this thing. I'm like, he might be LGBTQ, whatever. He might be part of the Alphabet Clan. He might be. But I thought the same thing about Kevin Samuels, and I was wrong about that. So I'm just listening to the way he talks and, his mannerisms. I'm like, I don't know, dude might be, you know what I mean? And then it's like he got pronouns on his thing, like he, him. So anytime I see pronouns, I'm like, all right, bro, I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. Dude could be gay. It doesn't matter. He's speaking facts. I mean, he's a professional. He's not talking just about himself, but he's talking about what he's seeing overall professionally, what he's seeing out there in the trenches, kind of like what we talk about. So I skipped over, the part where he was talking about who he is and all of his credentials and all that, his background. But please go back and watch the whole thing. It's really worth watching. But we're going to pick it up here when he's talking about what he thinks the problem is in the dating world, what he thinks the problem is and where it stems from. And a lot of this stuff, man, y'all have heard right here on this platform. You've heard it in, Rich Cooper talking about it, Michael Certain talking about it. You've heard everyone talking about it. I've spoken about it. Fresh and Fit has spoken about it. Rollo Tomasi. Everyone in the manosphere has basically said what this brother has discovered on his own, and I'm ready to bet that he's not part of the red pill. I'm willing to bet just about $100 to a donut that this guy's part of the blue pill mainstream world. So with all that said, man, let's get into it. Let's check out what he has to say. Bam.
May not apply to you on an individual level, but most of what I'll be referencing are things that pretty much can easily be verified. So I just kind of put that disclaimer out just because I know that these type of things are really, really sensitive. But in terms of the research I've looked into and thinking about this stuff for like over a decade, I kind of came to three main points. The first of which was the pill and birth control.
Mm-hmm.
The second was the sexual revolution or sexual liberation movement. Mm-hmm. And the third was social media. There's obviously way more things that can be listed, but I've found that these were the top three major things that changed the overall trajectory of how human beings looked at each other, mm-hmm. valued each other, and even the general direction of what's happening to humanity in terms of the replacement birth rates.
Right.
Bro, y'all have heard this. You guys have heard this 1,000,001 times, right? I've heard this 1,000,001 times. And on the blue pill side, the mainstream side, he's like the second person I heard talk about this. Professor Scott Galloway talks about this all the time. But the point I want to drive home here is technology and how social media and this technology has completely just wrecked the dating game. Completely wrecked it. Right now, he's going to use terminology that's slightly different than what we're used to hearing, in the manosphere and over here on the red pill side. But it's very similar. I guess he just doesn't know the terms. That's all. So he's using his own terms. But this guy, you can tell he's just out here as a professional trying to get to the bottom of this. The pros are hearing this, like the professional, people helpers, the shrinks, the counselors, the licensed therapists, they're all hearing the same thing. The same thing that I'm hearing out here in these trenches as just a regular person, and that is women asking, how come men aren't talking? How come men aren't taking me out? How come men aren't calling? How come men aren't texting? How come men aren't this, that, and a third? And the thing is, guys have figured it out, especially the bottom 80, the invisible guys are like, it just isn't worth it. What does Rich Cooper say? The juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? And all these guys are watching via this technology, and it's like Rich Cooper says it all the time. Hey, man, become the best version of yourself. Become a winner. Get to the finish line, and guess what? All the women going to be there. Like most women do not build with their guys. They wait at the finish line and they smash the winners. Now I get where he's coming from. He didn't say all women do that. Right? Rich Cooper didn't say all women do that. There are women who will build with you. But boy, they are hard to find. They are hard to find. So let's continue.
So yeah, we can expound on those three, but yeah, the pill and birth control, the sexual revolution, and then also social media and the advent of social media, which includes by extension dating apps. I think that those are the three major things, unfortunately, that has rigged the system for a very, very small percentage of men to meet the qualifications for a large body or pool of women. And what both sets of men, the ones that qualify and the ones that don't, there's good and bad things that have come from that as a result. But what I will say is that I think if there's an overarching conclusion as to why so many people, men and women, are still single, still frustrated, can't seem to find happiness, I think we get to a place and point when you've had so many negative experiences, so many failed experiments in your teens and or 20s and or possibly 30s. Both sexes will eventually start to naturally get to a place where they're basically approaching the other group or other side with very, very high skepticism. Mm-hmm. And they're expecting for that side to give as much as possible and for they themselves to risk as little as possible.
Bro, he's on to something there. He's 100% correct there. I'm proof of that. You guys know I'm well into my 50s. Nowadays, bro, and that happens a lot. If I go out, there's Every time I go out, and this isn't me bragging or anything like that. It's just I want to express to you guys who are watching here live and, watching on Team Replay. They say that women don't approach. Yes, they do. And I say this all the time. Women place themselves in your orbit. They make sure that you see them. They make sure to get that conversation going, especially the older that they get, like the women in my age group. Man, they're bold. When they see a man that they want, they go. They go, bro, like a shark. They are coming. And they're going to come have a conversation with you, whether you want that conversation or not, they're coming. Right? So that's the older crew. And that goes to his point right there. Because they've been through so much. They've done so much. The older women realize it's like, man, this dude has probably been through so much. But, man, I like him, and I want to get to know him. So I'm going to go up to this guy. And they're going to put up their best representative. Right? They're gonna put forth their best. But it's really easy for someone like me to just get to the real person. It doesn't take me long. It doesn't take me long. I told you, I mean, I'm like a gray Jedi. I'm using the dark and the light side of the force to figure out who this person is. And, most of the time when you get women who are my age, man, they don't know how to have relationships. They've been through so many busted relationships. Now, every now and then you come across a woman who may have been recently divorced or widowed. And those women, it's a little bit different. And in the women that I'm referencing that have been divorced, it's like their husband divorced them, like their husband's filed. And sometimes you would think like, yo, isn't that a red flag, Unc? I mean, if the husband filed for divorce, she must be a train wreck. Nah, he might have gone through a midlife crisis. She might really be the good one. But she's not, he's going through his Jeff Bezos phase. He wants him a dirty Sanchez. You feel me? Like he's out there doing this and she's like, I can't. No, I don't want to do that. And then he files paperwork. He goes against his attorney. He does it the way he's supposed to do it. He's planned it out, set up the finances, moved stuff away, talk to a lawyer, talk to an attorney, an accountant, got everything sorted. He knows how much he's going to lose. Bam, he does it. And I know it's dirty. It's a cold game out there, but that's how you do it. If you're going to break loose, that's how you break loose. Whereas she got hit like men normally get hit, because women plan this stuff, man, and men normally react. Remember years ago when I had a year and a half ago, had my buddy Perry Davis on. He's an attorney. He's in family law. He talks about this. And he said what he sees, day in and day out, is that women will plan the divorce and then the men will react. Women plan and execute, and then the man gets hit. He gets Pearl Harbored, and he doesn't know what's going on, but she's already got it all set up. Bam. So the guy is out there reacting and she's out there planning. So every now and then a dude will go out there and plan, execute, and the woman is stuck there reacting. So I've come across a couple women, older women, who got caught up like that. And they were good women, but boy, it hurt. They still got to deal with that pain because they still love the guy. And they're just like, they didn't see it coming. They got blindsided. So, you take it a little bit slow, but they could be cool. And, they ain't going to want to jump in the bed with you right away neither, because they got to get their head right, which is fine. But when they do decide to go, bam, they're doing it, and they want a relationship. These women are going to get right back into a relationship. They don't want to be out here on their own. So he's right. You get older, you get hit hard. Bro, you're just so tired of the bullshit, man. You're tired of all the fighting. You're tired of all the negativity. You're tired of all of it. So he's right. The older we get, and then older dudes like my age, not only do I have the older women, the mid-range women, but I got the young girls coming to talk to me as well. And almost every time I go to the grocery store, man, some young cute girl be sitting there, cashier, cashing me out. And she's, bro, on her thing, bro. I'm sitting there just minding my business, looking at my phone, and here she is. Holla, 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 holla. She's looking at me like, holla, 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 old man. And I'm like, well, damn, look at you, young puppy. Look at you, young puppy, looking all cute. You know what I mean? I just, me, I always be talking shit. I start saying what I'm saying. Next thing you know, she's giving me her Instagram. Mad I ain't got Snapchat. You should get Snapchat. Like, I ain't doing that. You lucky I got Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you my American Online account. Hit me up on America or AOL. So, but now, man, these young girls are hitting you up too, because the young guys are working on themselves. And the young women, they know to stay away from players. So that's like the mid-tier dudes. So they look at an older guy like he's, they want experiences. They want to be able to go chill and get into circles they've never been in before and, walk into places and chill out and like just look good. And, young women will ask you what to wear. Should I wear this or should I wear this? I bought these outfits. Which one? Like, okay, wear that one. Is it too revealing? No, put it on for me. They'll love to give you a little fashion show. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's nice. They'll do a fashion show. Like, I want to do a fashion show for you. Because and they'll have on some stuff. And of course, they'll have on stuff that they know they ain't going to wear, like the see-through stuff. They'll have that. But they'll save that for last. So that's like, So you pick out the outfit you want to wear for the event, and then she'll come out with this other thing going like, I'm not finished. I got one more thing I want to show you. And then boom, she comes out there. You're like, oh, yeah. Like, come here. Click on the music or whatever, and there you go. She's playing her bad girl routine. But hey, man, that's how it works. That's how it works. So, and then, one of the things, ladies, if you're watching this, one of the things you got to realize is y'all are competing with all grown women, and legal grown women start at 18. Y'all are competing with the 18s and up. Because these young girls, they're going after older, sophisticated dudes. And these young girls know how to sit in silence. They know how to take instruction. They know how to listen. Even if it's a game that they're playing to get to wherever they're trying to get to, they do know how to listen. Ladies, older women, and y'all don't really be wanting to listen. Older single women, boss babes and all that, y'all be wanting to listen. So there you go. Dr. B in the building. What's good? Talking about Don DeMarco, the Dr. B in the building.
Dom DeMarco.
Yes, sir. It's been a while, man. I'm back, man. I'm trying to commit to at least one live per week. I be putting up the stuff from the car, man, but I want to do like one live per week. Let's get back into it, bro. Appreciate you, man. I hope all is well. You coming to Orlando, bro? I'm in Tampa. Let me know, because I know I've been real busy. I don't know if you heard me talk about this, but I'm executive producing, and co-starring on Will Golson's podcast. It's called Spoken in Smoke, and we shoot here in Tampa, bro. I would love to have you on the show, doctor. You know what I mean? Cool brother. The space. We would love to have you on the show, man. Let's talk, bro. Let's talk. Hit me up. Do me a favor. Hit me up on Insta, and maybe we can work something out, bro. I don't know if we can get to Orlando, though, this month, but you always traveling, man. So if we don't catch you in Tampa, we'll catch you in Miami, because we will be traveling down the road. I will definitely hit you up, bro. I'll hit you up. If I'm on Telegram, they're perfect. I'll hit you up on Telegram, man. Let's talk about this. And again, if I can't get you scheduled here in Tampa, I'll definitely catch you on one of the Miami trips. And I ain't been in Miami in a minute, man, so I'm due. I am due, but I definitely want to and it's about an hour and a half drive, maybe 2 hours depending on traffic, from Tampa to Orlando. So I doubt if we can get over to Orlando to catch up with you, man. But we're going to talk, bro. We're going to talk. And thank you. Thank you for keeping up on me, keeping up with me, checking up on me and all that good stuff, man. So so back to what we were talking about, what this brother's talking about. He's 100% correct. The older you get, the more battles you've been in, the more battle scars you have, whether they're visible or not, the less willing you are to deal with the BS. Bro, I'm like Brother Michael now, bro. I'm at the point now, like, too much makeup, I don't want to talk to you. Like, if too much fake hair, I don't want to talk to you. You got the Venus flytrap things on your eyes, I don't want to talk to you. Tattoos on your face or sleeves all up and down, like tattoo sleeves on your arms, I don't want to talk to you. See-through dress, BBL, I don't want to talk to you. That's where I am right now. I'm like, bro, I don't need all that. If I'm sitting down having a conversation and I hear you complain about something or going off on somebody or talking about somebody who's like right around, like sitting there close to us or whatever, I'm getting out of that conversation. I don't want no drama. I don't want no drama, bro. None. Zip. Zero. So that's just from decades of dealing with that. I don't want to deal with that no more. So he's right. And the same thing, like that's me. I'm sure women out there saying, women have always picky anyway. They got a list of requirements, man, and a run down the floor, you know what I mean, downstairs, out the window, down around the building, you know what I mean? So I think that more men should date and should mate select like women. And what I mean by that, I think that men should be just as selective and just as quick to cut a woman off as a woman is to cut a man off. I think you should do that. And what's going to happen is women are going to adjust. And they're going to act a certain way because they ain't going to want to get cut off. That's what I think is going to happen. But let's continue with the interview.
So when you're highly distrustful, when you're extremely skeptical, you're going to approach relationships through a very transactional, less patient, less open perspective. You're kind of increasing the chances for the interaction to probably not go well or not work. You're going to probably see flags that are probably neutral. You're going to call them red. You're going to, you get what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what ends up happening is that when we get disappointed, when we get divorced, when we get ghosted, when we get cheated on one too many times, the end result's going to be you're way more skeptical, you're less trusting, you're less open, and now you want the other party to give so much more, and you're trying to give as little as possible.
Because you don't want to get hurt.
Because you don't want to get hurt. You want to risk as little as possible. So I think between those three things I categorize in the overall conclusion of what I think is the motivating factor for what we're doing, I think that's what ends up happening.
Well, I kind of want to actually go back into what, well, like with that, you said that there's qualified and unqualified men.
Yeah.
What can you expand on that, on what that really means for you?
Obviously it's slightly different when it comes to an individual woman by individual person for sure. But there are certain, I don't want to say universal, but there's usually general attraction triggers that a lot of women will kind of espouse and express. One of them being they typically want a man that's taller than them, right? So by default, if you're shorter than most women, the pool of women that's even going to see you and you not being visible to them is already going to knock you down quite a bit. So we can even jump into dating apps because I think this applies to what is it, right? A lot of women are typically looking for in the past. And when I say within the last like 5 years, this incel culture, this red pill thing, it was referenced on adolescence, this 80-20 rule. A lot of men between their late 20s and early 30s, they don't have to hear it on social media or hear it from some charismatic figure to start to realize and experience this was actually most of what they saw and experienced in their actual own lives. When you were in high school, there was the popular guys and everybody else. So the popular guys had access to a whole, every other month, it seemed like there was a new girl that potentially was trying to get his attention. It was the jock, it was the good looking guy, it was the athlete, et cetera.
It was the gangsters, it was the hood dudes, the D-boys, right? The playboys. Yeah. Everybody knows this. So I love the point that he made there. Like, you don't need someone charismatic. You know what I mean? We know he's talking about Tate. You don't need an Andrew Tate. You don't need the Godfather, Kevin Samuels, to tell you what you already know. And this is the thing. Most women, again, don't care because they're not living our struggle. We're not living theirs. So they don't care. But you see, they don't even process that. Like, what? Because them dudes, them invisible dudes are truly invisible, and it starts in elementary school. Probably starts in daycare, right? Who knows? But definitely by elementary school, 5th, 6th grade, middle school, high school, and then into college. Yeah, them dudes out there, like if you're an invisible dude, you a nerd, you're a dweeb, you're a geek. Like, bro, you don't play any sports, right? But, you're on the math team and y'all went state and brought the trophy home. Ain't no pep rally for the math team. They might be doing that now, but they weren't doing that when I was in school. Right? Bro, you ain't getting the key to the city if you won a chess championship. You won, all state, all city, national. You ain't, bro, they don't care. right? Which is major. That's, bro, if you want, our engineering team just won this robotics competition. So we got the number 1 basketball team in the nation. We got the number 1 unsigned football player in the nation. Think about that. So you don't have to tell them dudes. You don't have to tell the guys. They already know. The weirdos been dealing with this their whole life. But for them to see it with this technology, you see it on social media, now they get an opportunity to be heard, even if they're just being heard on Fresh and Fit or, Vegas After Dark or whatever Michael Certain and Rolo Tomasi's show is. Access Vegas, I'm sorry. It's on Access Vegas or it's on whatever. They get to get in there, get into the chat, send some super chats and say what they need to say and be heard. Makes them feel better. But, at the end of the day, ain't gonna help them smash. So, but yeah, I dig his point, bro. Like no one has to tell these dudes that what they're going through sucks. They know that. No one has to tell these dudes that, hey, these women don't see us. They know that. They've always known that. They always will. Right? But what these guys are learning, ones who want to do the work, is like, hey, if I do the work, I don't have to be 6'4". If I do the work, get my body right, learn a little bit of game, it could be pick up, it could be whatever, just get my confidence up, I'm going to be able to get some women because they going to see me. Now the women going to start seeing me because I got my hair, styled right. I'm wearing the proper clothes, right? I got the nice accessories, right? I know how to talk. I know when to shut up. Right? I move in the right social circles. Right? I'm not out here making an ass of myself. He just sitting back. And the woman, women that, again, start putting themselves in his orbit. And now he knows what to do. He can see the choosing signals. He knows how the game goes. He knows not to fall in love with the work. Don't fall in love with the 304. He know that. Right? Don't fall in love with a stripper. What's wrong with you? He know that. Those guys are going to succeed, but you ain't got to tell them it was tough. They lived that. They lived it.
Etc. In high school, you saw this guy who seemed to get an inordinate amount of attention from a lot of the girls. And then you had the quote unquote average guys. And then you had the guys who effectively just were kind of ignored. When you got to college, that typically looked either the same or started to worsen. But what happened with social media is it changed women's expectations and the pool of men that they actually thought they could potentially have access to.
Right.
So what that means is that generationally, 40, 60, 80 years ago, the pool of men that would even know this woman would exist was relatively related to her city or her town.
Yeah.
Now it's a whole campus. Now it's multiple people from other campuses. Now it's national global market. But now, and we could even argue it's a global market that you're dealing with. So as a consequence, her view on optionality has changed because her lens is that, yeah, maybe the guy I'm looking for isn't in my neighborhood, but I can effectively come into contact with any guy on the planet so long as he has social media.
That's a fact. We talked about that. Right? So generally speaking, you will grow up wherever you're from. Most people die within 40 miles from where they were born or something like that. Like most people, they're born somewhere and they probably die in that same area. People don't really travel. Historically speaking, they don't really travel like that. And even when they do, they wind up going back home. So you could be doing your thing. You're in your city. We've talked about this. You go to college. So now, like you go from your neighborhood being in play to your city being in play, right? Then you go, you get to high school, maybe the next town over, the other towns are in play. Then you go to college, the region's in play, the whole state, maybe the neighboring states, right? Like, because I was from Cincinnati, like, okay, well, I'm going to go to, Wilberforce, or I'm going to go to Ohio State, right? And now, you might start, kicking it with people who go to Penn State or people who go to, Notre Dame. You might start kicking it. Of course, you're going to go back home. You're kicking it with people who go to UC. Now kicking it with people who go to NKU, Northern Kentucky University, right? Oh, okay. And if you go HBCU, right? Like now you kicking it with people who down south. So you go from local neighborhood to city, right? You get to high school, other cities, get to college, regional, and then about, get to grad school, something like that. Now you're national. He's kind of talking about this. That's what he's talking about. And that makes sense. But generally speaking, you would do all that stuff and then you would go back home and you'll probably wind up settling down with either your high school sweetheart or your college sweetheart. That's how it was done back in the day. That's how it went down. Like you would do all this stuff and then you'll wind up coming back home, get married, have kids, put your degree to use and do all that kind of stuff. That's how it used to go. But now you got social media. You ain't got to leave your living room. And you have the entire planet at play. You got some dude you talking to in Morocco. You got some dude you talking to in Tokyo if you're a woman. You got some dude you talking to in Brazil. You got some dude you talking to, in Sweden. Right? And all these guys are top tier dudes. They got money. And they're like sending you money. Get your passport. Get this, get that. Boom, boom. Won't you come on over here? Won't you, the guy from Sweden, like, hey, won't you come over here? We'll go skiing. We'll do some stuff. All right, cool. You need to come back home. The dude in Brazil, like, won't you come on down here, for Carnival or whatever. He takes care of you. You go down there, you get to do that. Dude in Tokyo is like, hey, won't you come on out here? I'll take you to Mount Fuji and show you Tokyo. Or you get to do that, right? That wasn't a thing when I was younger. 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. That was not a thing. Now it is, very much so. And it's not even just the top tier dudes, because the top tier dudes just want to smash anyway. The girls are happy because they're getting the experiences, but you also got the lower end dude, the bottom 80 guys who was coughing up money, cash apping you this and that. Would you come to this bar with me? Come have dinner with me? You got girls like, yeah, cash app me $300 and I think about it. Here's $300. Well, here's $150 and I'll cash app you the other $150 when I see you at dinner. Well, I ain't gonna do dinner, but I'll come out for drinks. When we come have a drink, you'll cash out me that other $150, right? And then she shows up. The finesse is crazy. That's what technology has done. And now it's gonna be virtually impossible for women, especially, to settle in and settle down with someone from her boring ho-hum town. The guy she should be with, the guy you can make the family with and be happy with. Now she's like, nah, I'm going to keep hitting up these top tier dudes. And then her beauty phase and the top tier dudes are done with her. She's older now. And now she wants to run back to the bottom 80 guys. And with this technology, the bottom 80 guys are like, nah, you're not going to come running to me now. Nope. You don't want to holler at me then. I'm not going to deal with you now. I got me a good girl over here. Good luck. Bye. That's what's going on. Technology has wrecked the game.
And also affect the men as well, because they have access to all the women in the world now.
Yes, but that typically it splits into two categories. The men that most women say that they want and are attracted to, and the men that don't qualify. And when we say qualify, we can say attraction triggers that includes physical height, a certain amount of money or resources that they can kind of glean based on the type of lifestyle that he's living, the people he's surrounded with, you name it, where in essence, it sounds kind of bad to say, but like physical appearance, height, social cues relating to attraction triggers, and whether or not other women think he's also attractive and other men respect him, that's functionally the markers for whether or not a man's going to be taken seriously, be responded to, engage with multiple women or a lot of women, and potentially get access to no women whatsoever without having to pay for it transactional. That's the reality of it. So what's happening is I think that things are so skewed with these dating apps. We're looking at all the stats and they're all saying something very similar. Bumble is a great example because my wife and I met through Bumble.
Oh,
And,
all right.
All right, he's married. So remember I said, I'm like, he might be part of the Alphabet Clan. He's married. Still, I mean, I don't think it's one of those lavender marriages. And if you don't know what a lavender marriage is, don't worry. We're going to be talking about that coming soon as well, because I heard about this about a month ago. Blew my mind. Let's continue.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We got married about 2 years ago, I think. And our baby was born last summer. And
Oh,
What a success story.
Seriously, Bumble should sponsor you.
They should.
so out of wanting to like I'm so grateful I'm out the game, because we joked around when we were first dating, and she was first hearing about the incels, the red pill, blue pill, this and that. And she
Right.
asked me about Passport Bros, and she said, what do you think about this Passport Bros? Like, what do you, like, what's with these guys? She said, would you have been one if we hadn't met? And I said, yep.
Sorry, Passport Bros?
Bros.
Bros. Passport Bros.
Yeah.
What is that?
Passport Bros is where men are seeking the option of going abroad to interact and have access to women who, for a variety of reasons, it could be just for recreational sex or tourism. It could be because they want to look for more traditional women. They may want to look for women who aren't nearly as progressive or feminist in nature in comparison to the West. It's a whole host of spectrum of reasons for why men do it. And she had asked me flat out, why would you do it? And I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. Between my last relationship and meeting you, dating and trying to date was actually extremely difficult. I'm not a model. I don't make all the money in the world. I don't have the greatest physique. But I got a fair decent amount of matches and interactions with women.
Mhm.
The process between trying to get them to respond, then getting them to actually set a time to meet, actually meeting them, and it actually leading towards something was a lot harder than I had realized 10, 15 years ago.
And that's crazy.
And
I bet you this dude's game, I bet you his game was like, I'm the fun friend. I bet you this dude had a lot of women thinking what I was thinking. Like, hey, he might be gay. Hey, girl, what's up, girl? I see you. Look at you. Hey, queen. I bet you he was on that game. I bet you in college, he had I bet you all the dimes were cool with him. He was at all the parties, right? And then he's studying human psyche, right? And so what he does, I think what he did, found the women that he wanted, got into their head first, and then was able to smash them. I don't think he was doing it in a way that was devious either. I just think that was this is just me guessing. I mean, if I ever get a chance to talk to the brother, I'm gonna ask him, like, bro, did you just get into their head and you smash them in the head first? Like you head F them first, and then before they realize it, like, I feel like he just Jedi mind tricks these chicks. Like, I am the dude you want to smash. You are the dude I want to smash. Come over here and let me have it. I think I'm gonna come over there and let you have it. I think that's what he was doing. I think that dude was, and I saw guys like that coming up. I saw them in high school. I didn't go to college until after the military, but I saw them when I was in the military going to college campuses. I saw those dudes, and I saw how they moved, and they were patient, and they waited, right? They waited, and then a girl would come crying because the Chad or Tyrone did them dirty, and the dude would be right there like, oh, there, girl. There, girl. Now come on over here and tell me all about it. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. All right, yeah. That dude. Again, all was fair and love and war, man. People like, oh, that's grimy. I'm like, it's a cold game. It's a cold game. And then he got out of college. He lost access to all those women. He's out in the real world. He's in the trenches. And then, like you said, it's much harder in the trenches, especially now. Like spending all that time setting up a date, this and that, only to get flaked on, only for her not to show up. And then she'll hit you with some lame excuse later. A lot of guys deal with that. I don't deal with that anymore. I didn't really deal with it that much when I was out there kicking it, because I used to talk so much shit to these girls. Like, if you stand me up, you'll never see me again. I'll never talk to you again. And girls that stood me up, I'd never talk to them again, and go right after their homegirls. Go right after their girls. So today, I mean, you can, man, just making up numbers, you probably get ghosted or stood up, 75, 85% of the time, trying to get a girl to show up. She probably only showing up like 15% of the time, if that. Crazy.
Because you are a good looking guy, right? Like,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
you're not
what you,
George Clooney, but like, that
Mhm.
shouldn't matter, right?
wait a minute, hold on. I mean, I ain't George Clooney now, but we ain't gonna sit here and act like I'm Shrek. Right. But what it was I was realizing.
Y'all see that? that was his superpower. He would get them girls laughing and get cool with them girls. He was the dude to be able to call them, bitch, girl, quit playing, bitch. He was that dude. That's how he was able to smash. And the Chads, the Tyrones, the players they just overlooked him because they would see him and think, oh yeah, he gay. Same thing like when I saw Kevin Samuels was just online. I'm like, yeah, dude seemed kind of gay, man. He's awfully prissy. And I wasn't even thinking about dude like, whatever, he ain't a threat, he gay. Meanwhile, dude tearing through everybody. He rocking all the chicks. Same thing with this guy in college. He's probably rocking them all, and dude just didn't realize it. Like, what? You know, I'm about to go over his house. What's dude's name? Jeff. Your girl be like, yeah, you know, well, all right, since you ain't coming over, I'm going to hang out with Jeff. Oh, yeah, tell Jeff I said, what's up? That's cool. All right, bye. And Chad and Tyrone is off smashing some other chick while she over there with Jeff. And he's like, there, girl. You know what I mean? Just relax, baby. Like, Jeff would be over there getting it. That's game.
That there was a level of entitlement and arrogance and certain assumptions of what I had to give and offer to people who I don't think realized where we were in comparison to each other of the dating market. So I'm 35 now. So I'm going to give you an example of what this looked like. While on the app, there was 2 apps I was on, Bumble. And the second app I was on was in the States. We had one called BLK, was black, which is like a lot of black people would get on it. And I was obviously in Philly. And when you get on the plane and land somewhere, the location shifts in the app. And I had to go visit a family member for her 40th birthday in Chicago. And this was right at the time when I like first met my wife, like my now wife, like 2 weeks into us knowing each other, meeting each other. And I left from Philly and I had a layover in Atlanta for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left from Atlanta, got to Chicago, got off the plane, walked outside and got in my cousin's car when she came to pick me up.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned on my phone and I had 70 matches.
Damn.
Wow.
70. And I wasn't on the app. I wasn't doing anything. I was in Atlanta for 2 hours and I was in Chicago for maybe 20 minutes. And I had 70 women who liked my profile.
In Chicago.
Between Chicago and Atlanta, the 2 hours in Atlanta
Mm-hmm.
and
Crazy.
20 to 30 minutes in Chicago, I had 70 women. I'm 30.
70 women, bro. Like, bro. Technology has made the funnel just like on steroids. That type of technology in the wrong hands, bro. Like 70 in my prime. If I touch down in Chicago and I touch down in Atlanta, I got like 70 women trying to holler at me on this app. Oh, bro, I'm going through at least 40 of them. I'm making the time, and I'll get the rest when I come back. I'll come back and do a sweep later, and especially for black folks, you know, Atlanta, Chicago, DC, bro, it's a man shortage. It's a man shortage. You can be in one of those 3 cities, and you know, just holler at a woman walking down the street, and she will. Like, I expect that you have. If you tell her you're single, she's like, you don't have to lie. No, babe, for real, I'm single. Like, no, you don't have to lie. I mean, it's cool. I like you. We're going to hang out. We're going to do what we're going to do. And it's like, no, for real, I'm not lying. You know what I mean? I am single. But, yo, is that a thing? She's like, yeah, we got to share a man here. This is today, right now. So you see with these apps and the access that the technology brings, bro, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. We got Mandre on the building. What's good, Devil? What's good, Snake Eater? My favorite Green Beret. Mandre on the building, man. Good to see you, man. The technology has changed to such a point, man, that like if you were a player, if you're really trying to get it, I mean, it ain't fair. It ain't fair to these women, bro. You just knocking them down. Like it just ain't fair. Right? And they matching with you. So they ready to holler at you. Like, what's up? You just setting the times and they showing up. And bro, you were always at an advantage when you were traveling, playing an away game. Like if you ain't in your city, you at another city, you playing an away game. Bro, that's when I did my damage. The first 72 hours, did my damage. Whenever I touched down in the city, them first 3 days were critical. You gonna meet them, You got enough time to meet them, have them come through real quick, have a drink, smash, boom. And if you do it right, you can catch them you can catch them when you touch down. You can hit them again right before you leave if you run your rotation right. But that was without the technology. I couldn't imagine, bro. It's like when I go down to Miami, man. Like you go down, I don't even use the apps. I go down to Miami. I'm just talking to women as I'm walking down the street, Brickell or Doral or wherever I am, Hialeah, Kendall. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? What's your number? I'm down here. Where you? I'm staying in Brickell. You know what I mean? Like, won't you come down and have a drink? Where you staying? I'm staying at this hotel or that hotel, like wherever. They come down and have a drink, bro. They see it's really you. You ain't tripping. They'll come up with an excuse to come up to get into your room or stay in the room. It's on, bro. It's on. Like, like I heard the views are really nice from, in this building. Like, yeah, they're pretty nice. You want to go have a seat? I'm on the 30th floor. I'm on the 40th floor. You want to go see? Yes. Do you mind? Nah. Run them up there. Run them up to the room. Let them go look at the view. Next thing you know, bro, it's on. It's on to the break of dawn. I need to get a new sound effect. I don't have a sound effect for that one. You know what I mean? I don't have maybe I'll use this one. Maybe I use it. You take them upstairs, man. You get them into the room. They see the view, and then you just play this. And they start grinding, bro. They start whining. It's on. It's on. But let's get back. Let's get back to this.
30 at this point. At that time, I was about 30. And I don't think women realize what that means for all the men who look anything close to me, look better than me, make way more money than me, what their pool, who's on these apps, not for 2 hours or 2.5 hours, days, weeks, months at a time. I don't think that they actually know. So when you're in that position as a man and you're considered in the top 5, top 10% in most categories, and it's not coming from a place of arrogance, I don't think that they truly get that the man that they're willing to ignore 90% of men for, the leverage and opportunity and choice that he has.
Right.
So it's a very, very small example of I'm literally hopping on planes and leaving and I'm not doing anything. And I had almost 80 women that initiated contact with me just by dropping in 2 cities.
Wow.
And Atlanta's considered the Black capital. Is a lot of African Americans and Black Americans live in Atlanta as well as Chicago. So of course the data was probably skewed to a degree, but that's the reality.
A lot. That's a lot of.
Well, just for being there for such a short amount of time, like
Yeah.
I've heard people say that a lot, actually, that in a weird way, women have made this for men, like we've designed it, modern feminism, that they don't need to have a relationship because all these women, why would they want one? But I want to go back to quite a few things that you said, because it's an interesting age difference we have here. So you're 35, Susie's 29, I'm 52.
30 next week. Want to
She's
cry?
30 next week.
Want to cry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. She's 52. I'm older than she is. I think I had one of our female day ones were asking me, like, how come you just don't date women your age? I mean, bro, no offense to Shorty. I don't mean, no offense. I'm just, we're driven by our eyes. Like, we love what we see. You know what I mean? I've come across a handful of really attractive women, like my age, 50, 55, you know what I mean, and up, like really nice. I've seen some, like, boom, but all of the real fine ones were married, been married. It's funny, huh? But they just kept it together. And I think I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna reach out to this podcast because I wouldn't mind trying to collab with them. But I think they're in UK. Man. So Dino, man, they might be over there with you, bro. You should get on their podcast. Enlighten the sisters, man. Enlighten them, bro.
Cry her a river. Yeah. No. Is, I obviously see it from a different perspective. I've been married for 25 years. I'm British, so it's a bit different in Europe and the UK. But for me, looking at these comments, so, I think to myself, from the comments you've made, the sexual revolution, the pill, well, Gen X, all of my friends are on the pill. We're all, sexually revolutionized, shall we say. We
Mhm.
weren't, you know, we were already living, you know, more
So you can shoot up the club.
promiscuous lives than our parents, let's put it that way.
Okay.
But all of my friends got married. All of them had careers. They're all educated. You know, they've had children. So, you know, when you're a woman, you have children, you've maybe worked at different paces and rates throughout your career because of children.
Mhm.
But they've all managed to find a mate and have a career and have children. Balancing all of those incredibly difficult, but the point is that they've done it.
Mhm.
And we dated in real life. So where I met my husband through a friend that worked, I worked with this friend and he worked with this friend, and she kind of matched us up, which is kind of traditionally how it happened. Like a lot of people of my generation met at work, which of course
Mhm.
we've eradicated because of Me Too. So, you know, everybody I know in their 50s, 60s, late 40s met at work. You can't do that anymore for fear of something happening.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And she's really dropping game right here. And she's not unattractive. And she's married. So I Brother Dino, do you guys wear the wedding ring on the right hand? Because over here it's on the left. It's on the left finger, left hand. So I'm looking at her hand. I can see it on her right. I see her ring finger on her right hand. I see a ring there. I wonder if she's still married. I hope she is. And here's the thing, women, y'all need to understand this. When you get married and you're to your man, bro, he's not gonna leave you when you get older. Like when the beauty fades, he's gonna be right there with you, and he's gonna be happy to have you. And I mean, if you guys love each other, he ain't going nowhere. You know, just dudes aren't like that. Like, you know, so many women like, oh, he left me when I got old. Like, who left you? Who we talking about here? Because regular men, when they, you know, men love idealistically. It's generally speaking, it's women who do it opportunistically, right? They're looking for that option. But men, when they get married, when they fall in love, man, they fall in love for real. This is why I'm always telling y'all, man, be careful who you allow your feelings out on. Be careful. Keep your feelings in check until you know that's the one. Because if you allow yourself to fall for the wrong one, bro, you can get your face pushed in. How do I know? Because I've been there with all my knowledge and all my experience. That's why I keep telling y'all, if y'all head ain't right, don't be dating. Don't even go outside. If your head ain't right, if you're dealing with something, don't go out there, because you need to be focused when you out here dealing with women, right? If you get the right one, you vet her, she's the one, man, more power to you. Y'all could go the distance. She will 1000x your life. If you get the wrong one, she will absolutely destroy you or die trying. You know what I mean? So like, just keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind, fellas. You got to keep your head right. Keep your head right. Don't go out here half cocked with your mind messed up, dealing with some woman, fall in love with her, let all your emotions out on her, and then she turns around and just rips you apart using the family law system, using the court system, right? Get your child, hold your child for ransom against you. Now that you see your child fight, I mean, if you let that happen, it's your fault. That is on you, homie. Because Uncle Saint told you, get your head right. But anyway, for a married woman, I think she's all right. She held up all right. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure her husband is happy.
So that knocks out a massive pool of people to meet. So I think to myself, and you were talking about high school, it was the same in my day. You know, there were the handsome guys and the good looking girls and, you know, the people who weren't so attractive. Nothing has actually changed in any of what you've said there, I don't think. Like, you know, people got more dates than others and so on. What's changed is social media and this piece that you're talking about. Like that you can see the possibilities being infinite, apparently. And, you know, and that men see all these girls on Instagram.
And that glitching you hear, that's their microphones. The mics that they're using, that's that glitching. That's not me. That's their mic.
Instagram, who are all AI generated anyway. But they think they're real, and they think there's always something better over their shoulder, kind of thing. There's a certain piece of it that seems to me, from my perspective, that has changed. And it's the fact that we don't date in real life. People don't meet in real life situations as much. They do a bit, but not as much.
Yeah.
It's very hard because people are very nervous, and particularly nervous at work.
Yeah.
And particularly men. Men do not want to approach women. They're terrified. And I don't blame them. And so it's the way that we meet and the way that we present ourselves. As human beings, have we actually changed that much between, so you're a millennial, I'm Gen X, you're just a millennial, in terms of levels of promiscuity and levels of career, in levels of stuff like that? I'm not, maybe a bit, but not a huge amount. The generation before, yes, there's a big difference. But Gen X to millennial to Gen Z, we've all had multiple partners, we've all dated, we've all whatever. It's something that has really changed the key piece, and it must be the internet is the socializing, the apps for one, which obviously didn't exist, and the way people are meeting. I mean, it's just bizarre what it's doing. It's bizarre.
Before he responds, I just wanted to make one thing perfectly clear. Men are not afraid to talk to women. They're not afraid. They're just tired of the bullshit. Men have realized that in most cases, the juice is not worth the squeeze. It's not worth the effort. In most cases, they already know what time it is. They know how it's going to go down. And men are focusing on themselves, becoming the best versions of themselves, thereby making themselves more attractive to the average woman. Like, the average woman wants nothing to do with an average man. So today's man understands that, and he is just like in the gym. You got dudes in the gym, man, they just want to work out and they can't because they got all these gym influencers and these girls in there like wearing no clothes, booty cheeks hanging out, man, breasts hanging out, and they're walking around the gym talking about, look at all these weirdos looking at me. Like, look at what you wearing. Like, get out the gym. So you got that, people see this stuff going on. They hear what's going on in family court. They know the numbers. They know the stats. Like, come on, bro. Like, 50% of marriages fail. Like, and that's just being conservative. That's the number we accept, but it's higher than that. So more than 50% chance that your marriage is going to fail. And guys are like demanding prenups. And if they don't get one, they move on. Like, bro, it's not that they are afraid of women. They're not afraid of women. If anything, they're just tired of being dumped on by society, by the courts, and by all the rest of it. So let's listen to what his brother has to say.
Yes, I agree with you that two of the three things I listed obviously existed during your time, but it did open the door and started something that led to what we got to today.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, what I would argue is, and I agree with you about the social media component, but reevaluate if the social media opened up the door in terms of our views and perspectives on optionality, if the sexual revolution and sexual liberation either continued, what did that look like and mean for all the countless couples and individuals and families where it didn't work?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And what were the ramifications and consequences of the increase in single parent homes,
Mm-hmm.
and the increase of people not knowing who their father was, and the increase of 1 in 3 paternity tests in the States specifically. People they can't identify who the biological father was.
Really? 1 in 3?
1 in 3. And that's who's tested. So reimagine, you could do the math on all of that. So the point you make, and then lastly, as the push from the 60s, 70s, and 80s on of more and more women.
Did y'all catch that real quick though? Did y'all catch that? 1 in 3, 75. I mean, a third of the time of those people who take the test, the paternity test, the guy finds out he's not the dad. 1 out of 3 times. Like, I'm not the father and I've been raising this kid. And I've been told that I was the father, right? I'm not sure if that's a big thing in UK. I don't know. Maybe Brother Dino can tell us. I don't know but over here in America, if paternity tests were mandatory for anyone who wished it, like if they say, I want a paternity test, either party, mom or dad or whatever, I want a paternity test, and that test now becomes mandatory, I think it would be 75% of dudes out there raising kids that aren't theirs. I think the number is that high. I think it's 75%. I think 75% of dudes have been baby trapped. I think 75% of dudes are out there raising children that they believe are their biological children that are not. We won't know unless this becomes a thing, like becomes law or whatever, but I think the number will be that high. Personally, y'all let me know how high y'all think it's going to be.
going into the workforce and getting more educated increased,
Oh.
the pill and birth control convinced 2 generations of women to push and prolong when it is that they should start thinking about children. And
Sure.
the problem was that as they simultaneously did that, they did not realize that when they decide, well, it's time for me to slow down, it's time for me to settle down, it's time for me to get serious about the screening process of who I'm going to cohabitate with, have sex with, potentially do life with long term, the competition is now different.
Mhm.
So it hitting the window of when you're in high school or college, when it first kind of started, this was still a ever growing thing. The full effects of it now we're seeing post 2000.
Right.
So that's really what obviously social media is the third big mega piece that really changes it all, but it actually also impacts all these other factors. So now, for instance, let's take birth control, recreational sex, and social media. What does that do to a young girl or woman's brain
Mhm.
about seeing all these people traveling, seeing all these people purchasing all these things and all these lived experiences they want to have before they have children? And their belief system is, I can keep pushing the motherhood thing further and further down. I'll get to it 30, 32, 34, 36, modern medicine. This celebrity said that they had a kid at 38 or 42. I can get to it when I'm ready. And by the time a lot of them are quote unquote ready, the rules aren't the same. And I'm
Mhm.
going to say something that I've heard, and I'm sure you two may have heard, about the mountaintop analogy in terms of the dating marketplace. Women start at the top,
Mhm.
and that's the reality. When you turn 18, in terms of the desirability factor,
The
you start,
gatekeepers of sex.
you start at the top. The moment you turn 18, you didn't have to do anything. You
Mhm.
just had to exist. You have inherent value
Mhm.
in the dating market with other teenagers,
Mhm.
with men in their 20s, men in their 30s, men in their 40s. And that
And how does the manosphere say it? The manosphere says women are born with their value. Men have to earn their value. Shout out to Myron Gaines. He says it all the time. Rollo Tomasi says it all the time. Michael Certain, all the time. Women are born with their value. Men have to earn their value. So again, same talking points, just worded differently. I'm telling you, man, red pill is now mainstream. That's my belief. Red pill is now mainstream. You're going to hear this more and more and more. You're going to see it on ABC, CBS, NBC. You're going to see it on the BBC. You're going to see it on CBC up in Canada. You're going to see MSNBC and all the rest of it. You're going to see it more. You're going to hear it more and more and more.
run from 18 to 25 is when you're probably going to get the biggest pool of men younger than you and older than you that's going to be interested in wanting to do life with you, and potentially for the reason of you being potentially the mother of their children.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
just
it's-
want
yeah.
to chime in here
Yeah.
just because
I want to hear what she has to say, but take a pause for the cause. We got Brother Don 007 in the building.
Dom DeMarco.
Good to see you, brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And yeah, man, according to the internet, man, paternity tests are now legal in France unless court ordered. I saw some things about it. I never took the time to read up on it. So I'm not sure if it's the law of the land or not, but I know what you're talking about, brother. I saw it. I heard the talk about it. I saw some stuff on it, but I never went to verify. You know, today, man, we got to vet our own stuff, but we got to go check and check and check and check. But I'm definitely going to look into it. But I believe you're right, bro. I believe it is the law of the land. It is illegal to go and get a DNA test done. I think that's how it is. Like if a man goes because he's not sure if he's the father in France, he gets a DNA test without a court order or without the knowledge and or permission of the woman, that it's illegal. I think we gotta look that one up.
since like being the young one who's single,
Yes, the
Um,
young single one.
the young single one. Obviously I'm not really on the app because I have just given up just for now. I'm just like over it.
Mhm.
And I have actually, I've I've not really been on birth control in my life, like here and there, and then I didn't like it, and so I use condoms, and that's what works for me.
Yeah.
But
You're not on birth control, you say. No birth control. No birth control. I mean, do we believe that? I mean, do we believe that? No birth control? Because if that's the case, if she's telling the truth, no birth control.
Houston, we have a problem.
I do find it really interesting, obviously, like that you're saying, you know, like I know the divorce rate is like 52%, right? If people
Yeah,
are getting
yeah.
divorced. But that means that people are getting married when they're younger and like possibly having
No.
children when they're younger.
No,
You're saying
there's
that's
no-
not happening?
No, there's no correlation between the divorce rate versus when people are actually getting married. There's marriages lasting 2 years. There's marriages lasting 4 years. People are getting married at 25 and getting divorced by 29. There's not really a causal or correlated link to that. And that's the problem, is it's really the illusion of time. It's the illusion of time. And the difference is, when I was talking about that mountaintop, that 18-year-old boy has functionally nothing to offer most women that are single. He's the one that has the time.
Yeah, that's right.
When the magic number for both sexes is 30. Because that's the time, if he didn't get himself in a situation where he has to pay a lot of money out in alimony or child support, if he's not incarcerated, if he's been steadily increasing his value just naturally with work and making more money and building his body and his brand up. At 30, this is what happens. She one side, most desirability with the greatest pool of men, when she hits 30, I'm going to throw out a number. Let's say that's cut in half.
Right.
Let's say they're cut, still attract.
So again, over here, we know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about the wall. He's talking about the wall. The young man has to build his value. The woman, she's born with her value. 18, man, she's the most valuable thing. I was an air traffic controller. I was working at Van Nuys Airport. My supervisor, Murphy, you know what I mean? God rested, rest your soul, Murphy. You know what I mean? I wish I had something I can pour out for Murphy. That was my guy, man. So much respect and love for that man. I learned a lot from him. But one of the things that Murphy, he would always sit, he was the supervisor, he would sit in the back, and when there was nothing going on, he would just be asking questions. He just wanted to talk about stuff. And he said, hey, do you know what the most valuable commodity on planet Earth is? And everyone's like, gold, silver, you know, oil, like you start all this land. It's like, nah, it's like an 18-year-old woman. This was Murph. Murph was a white guy, Irish, Catholic, you know what I mean? White dude. Grew up on the East Coast, one hell of an air traffic controller. And he was like, that is the most valuable commodity on planet Earth. Like an 18-year-old woman, a young, beautiful 18-year-old woman. And that's starting out the gate, right? Whereas a man, he ain't there. So once a guy gets around 30, he starts hitting the stride around 30, and it really starts going up. At that point, she begins to decline. And that's where the sexual marketplace comes in, the SMV and all that. We know this, right? This is the stuff that's talked about over here in the Mental Swamp day in and day out. We know this. But we're hearing a dude who's 100% blue pill. This is a mainstream guy talking about this. So you see that, right? This thing, whatever it is coming to a head. It's coming to a point where society has noticed, like, uh-oh. You know, again, Houston, we have a problem. We need to fix this. And they want to turn the guys like, you need to just start dealing with these women. Like, nah, nah, dudes ain't doing it. Dudes are not doing it. You know what I mean? And brother Dino was saying, one host UK, one host American. DL, do you know if they are based in UK or America? I think they're based in UK, bro, but I don't know. I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to find out. I would love to collab with them. I'm going to find out for you, bro. And if we're lucky, we'll have them on this platform, and I'll be on that platform, and it'll be kind of cool. But I'll let you know when I find out.
If she's still desired, there's still a lot of people that want her, but now her competition is everybody that's younger than her, and everybody that's her age, and everybody that's a little bit older than her that potentially looks better than her and potentially has a better attitude than her and less negative experiences with men.
For sure. I mean, I'm experiencing
Yeah.
it. Like, I see exactly what you're saying. Like, not that I'm right now even looking for a relationship,
Mhm.
but like
Yes, she
there
is.
is the fact that I know a lot of my friends who are in their early 30s, let's say, and they are finding it very hard to find a boyfriend. Like, let's say they broke up with their boyfriend like 2 years ago and they're trying to find a partner. It's
Yeah.
very, very hard. But I'm also finding, I don't know, maybe you have an experience with men around like obviously your age. I find that a lot of those men who are in relationships aren't happy actually with their relationships, and a lot of them are, you know,
Happy or unhappy?
unhappy.
Unhappy.
Like a lot of them are cheating, or they're just not giving what they should to their partner.
Mhm.
What is that with men? And obviously, like, I don't know if they're going to get divorced, like if there's going to be a bigger divorce right now because of all of these, social media apps. It's a lot, easier to find someone else, or even just like, Ashley Madison, someone to your house. Like it, we're getting, and I'm now seeing it where like, I'm like, why would I want to even get into a relationship if most of these guys are cheating on their wives, right?
Again, this is one of the things that women have the hardest time accepting. I think they understand the concept, they just don't want to accept the concept. When they were 18 and at their highest value in a sexual marketplace, men were throwing themselves at the women. Like, these women were just, Neo in the Matrix trying to get around these guys. These guys are like getting away from these guys, trying to block the guys that they don't want and then focus on the guys that they do want. But there was never a problem with them getting attention or having a good time, like smashing, whatever. They had access to men. What she's talking about now, it's like, well, my friends are in these relationships and the guys aren't happy because he's cheating. The thing is, now that guy's in his 30s and 40s, he has this money, he's kept his shape, like he's still in shape, he's handsome, right? Now he has women throwing themselves at him. All these women want him to smash. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna smash it. I'm gonna smash it because I had to work so hard. This the whole candy store analogy, this is the stuff that, that Myron would talk about on Fresh and Fit. You know what I mean? This is the stuff that Myron like always talks about this. Like, why would a man, when he finally gets to his peak, not go crazy when he gets into the candy store and just eat all the different candies and do whatever? The modern man today messes up because he doesn't tell his significant other, his girlfriend or whatever, that's what he's going to do. He should say it up front. I am going to go out from time to time and smash me some dimes. I love you. I want you to be here. I want to marry you. You're going to have the house. You're going to have access to all this stuff. We're going to do all this stuff. You're going to be my woman. But from time to time, I'm going to go out and I'm going to smash. I'm not going to bring home any diseases. I'm not going to bring home any babies. You're never going to see the women. If you're that guy who just like can't be with one woman, you need to tell that woman up front and let her choose. And if she says yes, cool, y'all move forward. If she says no, you find another woman. But so many dudes are selfish. They're kind of in love. And they don't, they're like, I won't get caught. That's what this young woman is talking about. And she's like, I'm not looking, I'm not dating. She's competing with all the 18-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, her age group and older. All the women are competing, like we said earlier. All the women are competing for these dudes. And she's only talking about, like, I don't want to go after these dudes. She's talking about the top tier guys. She's still not seeing the bottom 80. She still doesn't see the average man. She doesn't see it. I wish I was sitting on this interview, because I would have loved to jump in on that. Like, baby, you ain't even seeing these dudes. Right? And the guys at the bottom 80 dudes, man, they ain't trying to cheat. They ain't got women throwing it at them every single day. Y'all heard that Bill Burr bit when Bill Burr was like, y'all have no idea how tough it is for someone like Tiger Woods to come off, you know what I mean? He's coming off the 18th hole and he has a busload of Scandinavian, models trying to smash him. Like, y'all have no idea what the pressure is. Y'all have got to see that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find that clip and we're gonna play it. But anyway, let's continue. I want to hear what this brother has to say.
Okay. I'll answer that, and then we can just jump straight into men cheating and why they do it, because it's not very relevant. The first thing is I can't speak to the UK, Canada, Australia, and other westernized cultures or countries in their rate of divorce or marriage. Well, what I will say is 70% of all divorces are initiated by women.
Yeah.
80% if she's college educated.
Mhm.
So regardless of level of happiness, for whatever reason, men aren't typically, on average, initiating the divorce. That doesn't mean that they're all happy. That doesn't mean that they're all faithful. It just means that for whatever reason, that's not their go-to when they are unhappy. Now, how to make up for that unhappiness? They can stay at work longer. They can find other hobbies with friends. They can look for outsourcing the things that they feel their partner isn't doing with other women. There's a whole host of reasons for why men might ideally want to stay or not break up their home or have their kids moving between households. There just is other factors that's probably in their heads for why it is that they're choosing to stay. In the last podcast I met with the mom advocate, I talked to her about the happiness factor not really being something historically throughout almost all of human civilizations when it came to marriage. That really wasn't a factor, and now it is. And unfortunately, you can't perpetually be happy. You can't always be happy. And you have a group that when they're unhappy, you have to kind of ask them. And I've even asked women this directly. If you have to choose between your own between your own happiness or the happiness of your entire family, which do you choose? A lot of them are going to say their own happiness.
Yep.
A lot of men or a lot of women? Sorry.
A lot of women
A lot of women.
are going
Wow.
to say their own happiness. But when you ask men, the data speaks for itself. They'll stay in unhappy situations for the sake of the kids, for the sake of finances, for the sake of image, for the sake of status or reputation, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't mean that they don't do things on the side to supplement that, but their view of happiness isn't nearly as important to them as it is to a lot of women in the modern age.
So-
Which is crazy. So we all know about the sexist marriage thing, right? So you're married to a woman, y'all been together, y'all been, doing your thing, and all of a sudden she doesn't want to smash anymore, right? She doesn't want to smash. You're successful, like you got the big house, got all the cars. She doesn't want to clean anymore, so you got a maid. She doesn't want to make you a sandwich, so you got a chef, you know what I mean? Or you got a maid that can make sandwiches. And she doesn't want to smash you, so you got a maid who makes you sandwiches and who will smash you. And then the woman gets mad at you smashing the maid, and she'll go smash the pool boy. It's like, look, babe, if you had just smashed me in the beginning, we wouldn't need all that. If you would just clean the house, right, cook, make a sandwich for me every now and then, and smash me, we wouldn't be spending all this extra money anyway. But a guy would still, with the exception of her banging the pool boy, the guy would still try to make the relationship work. That's the point he's trying to make. Whereas women, they say that, well, women would just wreck everything. They'll go, full on kamikaze, bonsai, blow everything up just because they felt like it. Like, well, I just felt like I needed more room. What's the name of the child star who went on? Is it Mallory, Tia Mallory or whatever? Left her husband, broke up her family, made her, her kid mad, all because she thought she could do better. And then she wanted to get him back. And dude was like, nah, I'm good. Right? Women do stuff like that. And it's like, why are you doing it? What are you doing? And, the answer is some of these women, like, they just don't know how to be wives and they're not ready. They were never ready. Right? And it boiled down to, I want my own happiness. Just like he just said, like, women, like, if it comes down to that, my happiness or the happiness of the family, I'm going to choose my happiness. We're going to blow this family thing up. Banzai. Right? And that's just what you're seeing out here. Not all women, and I want to be clear on this, not all women do that. We're not talking about all women, but there are enough of them that we got to talk about it.
I thought it would be opposite. That's so interesting.
No, that's why women aren't leaving happy marriages.
Yeah.
They're leaving ones when they're unhappy.
The statistics are that married men are the happiest group and single women are happy. Like married women are not as happy as married men. Like married men are more happier than married women.
So the funny thing about that stat, and it's threefold that I'll say with that. One, you have to wonder when in women's lives are they answering that question when they're married, because I envision that when they're answering that question throughout the duration of their marriage probably matters. I think because statistically speaking, they experience a fuller range of emotions, and neuroticism seems to express itself more within the female population. It's not unusual to me to hear the ups and downs of happiness, sad, ecstatic, depressed amongst talking with women. That's just not that's not strange to me in my field of mental health and psychology, honestly. And on the flip side, I find it ironic that in the age where women are using the most, they're diagnosed the most with anxiety, the most with depression, the most psychiatric medication services in that era, many of which are doing when they're actually single. The self-reporting data doesn't do anything for me. Is basically what I'm saying. The data, the evidence, the constant frequent disappointment of not being able to find an adequate partner, the constant need to overspend to supplement and make up for the lives that they can't experience with someone else, the high rates of student loan debt in the US, the high consumer debt amongst women in the US. I'm sorry, like, they can self-report all they want about how happy they are. They'll trade places in a heartbeat for the woman that's married that says that she's so quote unquote unhappy. And clearly in the US, we have no problem initiating and filing for divorce. So
yeah, 70 to 80% of the time women file for divorce. Could you imagine Donovan Sharp saying everything he just said? Man, they will be at his doorstep, man, with pitchforks and torches, right? But everything he's saying, we hear in the manosphere all the time, like all the time. Cool Joe is in the building, man. Joe Cool, good to see you, fam. What's happening?
Dom DeMarco.
Yeah, I'm giving all the old heads Don DeMarcos today, man, because I appreciate y'all, man. So good to see you, fam. What he's saying is so true. It's young women aren't taught to be wives. Feminism has really done some damage. And the fact that, like, no fault divorce and, you know, the way that women are rewarded from walking away from their families and destroying their families and all that, bro, all that needs to be addressed, man. All of it needs to be addressed. And it is being addressed because of this. You know, we ain't got to worry about family court if dudes ain't having babies in America. You ain't got to worry about family court if dudes ain't getting married in America. That's where we're headed. And in the bottom 80, the invisible guys, right? Those are the batteries that drive our society here in the West, especially in America. The invisible men are the men who push our society, along with the women who are out here spending all this crazy money. But it's the men who continue to build and grow and push our country. Now, they've all given up. They're not even trying to get jobs right now. They're like, you know what? I ain't going to work. I don't care. I'm staying at my mama's house. I'm staying in the basement. Stay at grandma's house. I ain't even trying to work. I'm gonna get me some STEMI money, or I'm gonna get me some food stamps. I'm gonna get me whatever. Play video games all day. That's what's going on, and that is why it's a problem. It's a problem. And I get it. The dudes are like, man, I ain't gonna play this game, man. They don't like the way the game is rigged. They don't want to play it anymore. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to get these guys back in the game.
It's one of those things where I'm not saying people are liars. What I am saying is that I think that it's a multivariate analysis that probably needs to take place, and that happiness is probably more on a scale than necessarily happy or not happy. So that's, you know, my honest assessment. And I think that I don't put all this stock in it's the women who aren't with men that are doing the best and happiest in life. And I don't even argue the opposite, that it's only the women who can find a good man that they're all happy and they have no complaints. I think you're going to have complaints whether you're single or whether you're living with somebody. Either you sick of yourself or you sick of somebody else. So that's
Sure.
that's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, surely, most of the divorces, though, are initiated by women is really because women can now be self-sufficient in the sense that economically, to a degree, you can figure out something sexually. You don't need a man to buy a house, compared to, say, my grandmother's generation, who, in fact,
Mhm.
my grandmother had to get married because she was pregnant. That doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore. So you don't have to marry a man if you want a child, and you don't have to marry a man if you want to have a house and a materialistically successful life. And so
Yeah.
that's sort of emasculated men to a degree. So what is their role? Like, what are they? And the thing that I find strange is I find men in their 50s, or men that I know in their 50s and older, pretty secure in who they are. They've had families. I'd say I personally know a lot of successful men. They've had families. They've done well financially. They're not all happily in their marriages. They definitely don't hate women.
Mhm.
Versus the younger generation, and these are men who also I'm talking about men in their 50s. They didn't grow up in this Me Too thing, so they're
Right.
not afraid of women. But they understand the feminist movement. And then you compare it with men, sort of 25 to 35 and younger, that sort of younger Gen Z or young millennial age. And there's a huge amount of hatred for women, not understanding feminism or where it came from, and not understanding. And I think this is where there's a disconnect for me, is that young men, I think, are paying for the sins of their fathers, right? So the way that older men behave, younger men are now having to pay that. And they don't get it because they didn't grow up in that era. Whereas
Yeah.
men sort of in their 50s understand. They understand that era. They understand what women went through in the workplace. There were no rules and laws, and I certainly lived that. And that young women, in turn, didn't live through what I had to live through, very misogynistic work environments where there were no rules and laws, and men definitely stepped over many boundaries. Young women today, none of them have lived through that. Yet they are behaving as if they grew up in my generation. And the young men, so they're confused because they're not behaving according to what their experience is. And the young men are like, hang on a second, why am I paying for what my great grandfather did or father did or whatever? And so the sort of behavior between both of the genders is so confused. I mean, that's what I see. Is it's just young men saying, hang on, I didn't do any of this shit. I wasn't gross. I didn't do stuff that I shouldn't have done that was inappropriate and blah, blah, blah. But young women are blaming them for that when they didn't grow up in that culture.
I think she's missing something. It's like these young dudes are, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But they did. They did it online. Right? They were able to do it from behind their keyboard. And from, they were able to do it with the little smiley face emoji or whatever, teddy bear emoji. They still did some stuff that I would argue was just as bad, if not worse. They get it. I don't think that men, even the young men, I don't believe that they are afraid of women. They just don't want to deal with it. Today's young man who was the knight in shining armor, he doesn't want to slay the dragon. It's like the woman on the behind the dragon, she ain't worth it. Hey, dragon, you can keep her. She a 304 anyway. And he just riding off on his horse. Right? He's going to conquer another land. He's going somewhere else. Passport, bro. Right? I'm going to find me Rapunzel over here in Spain, or I'm going to go down here in Colombia, or I'm going to go out here to Thailand and find my princess. I don't know nobody. We don't want you. I think it's more of that. Men are not afraid of women. Men aren't even afraid of society holding their feet to the fire. They're not. Men are just dealing with it. But I think men are looking at it as like, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And we just got to talk to some more young dudes, but I think that's what it is. Her growing up the way she grew up, being a Gen Xer, like listening to this woman right here who's married, probably had her family, she did her thing. In essence, she won. Like, she made it to the finish line, and good for her. But she has a huge disconnect. Like, she really doesn't understand what's going on in these trenches. She really doesn't. And then I hear what she's saying about women in the workplace and all that. yeah, it was different, but the pendulum has swung the other way. Like you got a guy, if a guy's attractive, and you guys have seen the meme when the handsome suave dude with the suit walks into QB's Susie's office and says something, and she's like, "Oh, he's so handsome. Oh, he's so dreamy." And then the weirdo comes and walks in the office and says, "Hey, can I get you? You know, I'm going to get a coffee. Would you like a coffee?" "Oh, you're a weirdo." Someone call HR. Right? That's what's going on now. Like you have a dude who was just being nice, like, "Hey, I'm about to go get a coffee. Would you want one?" But because she doesn't find him attractive, it's like, "How dare you talk to me, you troll? I'm about to go over here and go to HR and tell on you. He ain't do nothing wrong." But the handsome guy comes in there and was like, "Girl, you look good in that shirt. You look good in them pants." She's all in on that. That's where we are with it. And these dudes see it and like, nah, bro, it ain't worth it. Not only are the bottom 80 guys checking out, but the top 20 guys are like, "Nah, bro, I ain't dealing with that." So, and even like for a Gen Xer, like, and she could probably tell you, bro, like the Christmas parties, the office parties, they got wild. And like she said, she met her husband at work, and all her friends met their husbands at work. Come on, man, they was doing some things up in there. So it is what it is.
And that makes no sense at all. And then you add a layer on top of that women don't need men financially. I mean, of course, it's better. I attest to that. I work, my husband works. It's way better. It's
Yeah.
way better if you're happy and you work and are married and you're in a team and you go forward in life together. But it's not essential, whereas it used to be historically. And so I think it's put men in this very weird space. And we've talked about it a lot, like at the beginning of the conversation about incel, red pill, blue pill, and all of that, and this real rise in toxic masculinity amongst young men, this hatred of women, that like they absolutely like it's full on rage.
And we also,
I'm not seeing that. Like, maybe it's something different in UK, man. I saw the movie. What was the movie? Was it Incel or whatever that movie was on Netflix? I watched it. I can't remember the name of it. I'm not feeling her on this. It's not that young men hate women. Quite the contrary. They would love, all they want is to have a good woman. They hate the bullshit. And they don't want to deal with it. Like I said, they're the knight in shining armor. They do not want to slay this dragon. They're like, look, you know what, dragon? You can have that chick. I'm gonna go over here and get me a woman over here. That's what I think it is. I don't think it's hatred. I mean, and if it is hatred, it's the same level of hatred that women have for men. If you're gonna say that this misogyny and this toxic masculinity thing is going on, this toxic masculinity, I think it only equals and rivals the misogyny and the toxic femininity that's going on out there right now. That's how I see it. And the society is just mad that men have chose not to fight this fight. Simple as that. Brother Dino was like, the fear of rejection is real, DL. Maximize in your incels who, the active shooters who be doing their thing, who do the pew pew thing. Yeah, but that thing, when you hear about some of those incidents, when you have the active shooters, it ain't just women and girls that they're looking for. They're looking for the jocks. They're looking for the Chads and the Tyrones too. Right? So it's like these invisible guys, it's like that hatred swells up, but it's like a hatred for our society as a whole. Right? You could throw in some racial stuff in there too. You can throw in some homophobic stuff in there as well. They lash out against everybody. Moon, the YouTube channel Moon, I don't know if you guys check out his content, but he speaks on that. They were speaking on the weirdo who blew up the reproduction office in Palm Springs. I don't know. It was, I don't know if it was you can't say the word, but I don't know if it was a baby deletion place. I'm trying to come up with YouTube friendly terms, or if it was a clinic to help people have babies, because I think they had I don't know what it was, but anyway, Moon did a video on it, and I want to react to the video hopefully here pretty soon, when he talked about Reddit and where these people go down these rabbit holes on Reddit, man, and boy, they hate everything and everybody. They hate themselves. It's just like levels of insanity. Like these people are really gone, man. Like crazy people talking about like, yeah, I have a split personality. It's not a personality at all. It's a separate entity that just lives inside of my head. Like what? And they believe this stuff, bro. They got, man, I think it's more of that. And those people are so lost that they're striking out against society as a whole. I don't think it's just at women. You know what I mean? I don't think it's just at the LGBTQ community, like the homophobia thing. And I don't think it's just at men. I think it's all of it. Because when those guys come out, bro, they come after the active shooters. The active shooters comes out, they come for the Chads and Tyrones. Look what just happened in Idaho, man. They came, a weirdo set a fire, a fire and, engaged the firemen who showed up and deleted 2 of them and wounded a 3rd. Like, bro, like these people are just off their rockers, man. They're off their rock. Yeah, flat earthers in there too. Like, bro, for real? Are we still talking about that? The earth is flat? Are you stupid? Wait, how? Right? But the Reddit people are way worse than the flat earthers. Like these people who are lost, they're like way worse. So like I hear what they're saying, but I'm not with them on that. You know what I mean? Especially like the fear of women. I don't think these dudes fear women at all. I think these dudes like, I just don't want to deal with them. Now, these dudes will go after and they will attempt to go like, get themselves a dime, a 8, a 9, a 10, no problem. But the 7s endowment, they ain't messing with them. They're just like, I don't want to deal with it. I'll take it from her because she's a dime, but I ain't gonna take it from you. I mean, that's just what it is.
Like, obviously being women and having a podcast where we're very open about our opinions, we see it like real time on our comments, on our everything, like on the messages we get, we see it. And so obviously, like, I know you're not saying that's not happening, and women and men are very much to blame on both sides of why this is happening. And I know we had brought up adolescence, and obviously this culture.
That's the name of the movie.
What are you thinking about?
Where's it going?
Yeah. I see this is where the podcast is going to definitely become a lot more controversial with some of the things I'm going to say. But Melly, I'm going to agree with you 100% about, from the male lens and the reaction about modern men are being made to pay for the sins of a patriarchy that they're no longer a part of. That is, for a lot of men, this visceral reaction is the world and environment that their fathers or grandfathers were able to experience, were able to afford, were able to have access to, has been squeezed and reduced to a very, very small pool of men. And that's the reality. And that is a consequence of women changing the terms of what it was required for a man to have access to a woman sexually, in order to get a wife, in order to have a child, in order to start a family, in order to be a genetic dead end. I'm going to give an example personally, and I hope that this helps just at least to humanize, not excuse, but humanize where some of these unchecked emotions from men are probably coming from. My parents, when I was young, I believe I was in 3rd grade, we moved from Philadelphia to South New Jersey, in Willingboro, as in the suburbs. And that home, 3-bed, 2.5 bath, huge front yard, side yard, backyard, was a house on the corner. That house at the time when they got it was probably like $120,000. And when they first moved, my mom wasn't even working. In order for me to get a comparable home like that, I have to make what both my parents made combined.
Oh yeah.
And in order for me to have a wedding like they had a wedding, how much do I have to make and spend?
For sure.
In order for me to get a degree, in order to make the money, how much debt do I have to go into? So there's an entirely different world of expectations
Mhm.
that's being placed on a generation of men. So when the cost of living is higher,
Right. Yeah.
when the expectations are now elevated to a level it's never been in human history
Mhm.
for any man,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's the highest it's ever going to be for anybody in the Western culture right now.
Mhm.
And your sexual counterparts are also making money, also entering into the workforce, and they unknowingly, in or maybe knowingly, in the process of fighting for equality, fighting for their own liberation, getting access to education and money and resources, you doubled the tax base and you doubled the workforce and you stagnated wages for the men who were still expected to do this.
Yeah.
It came with it. So
Yeah.
the ultra capitalists here in the States, the Rockefellers and other groups, that was a very subversive. They funded the very groups that they told women, this is the groups that are your advocates.
Mhm.
They funded them. So as you left the home, as you took on student loan debt, you prolonged the period where you normally would have been probably focusing on starting a family. When you come back out, your expectations don't go lower.
Yeah.
They go higher. When you went into college, you were maybe not making much of any money. When you come out of college, between the student loan debt in the States and the actual salary you're making, the pool of men that even qualifies is significantly reduced. What are you going to do with all of these men?
Yeah.
That's now.
Right. And this is Scott Galloway talks about this all the time. You know, women, generally speaking, when they make select, they go, you know, at their level and up, like, you know what I mean? Like horizontally and up. Where men, you know, he says horizontally and down, like, nah, men get whatever they can or whatever they want, depending on where that man is. Like the dudes at the top, you know, top 20 dudes, he's getting what he wants and then some. The dudes in the bottom 80, they getting whatever they can. You know what I mean? If that means you got to go to another country and all that kind of stuff. So women, like what he's saying is true. Like right now in America, bro, like to qualify for a loan, like the average home loan, like a starter home in America, the average loan is like $400,000. We're at what, 7% interest right now, or really close to it. To qualify for a home, you need to be making like $140,000 to qualify for that particular loan. Of course, if you get a townhouse or a condo, it'll be less. You're looking at spending, you know, depending on where you are, 350, 375, something like that. But if women were marrying their high school sweethearts like they did back in the day, like I think Gen Xers were the last generation where that happened, you know, like my generation, and then moving on, it changed. So if women were going to college, then coming home or whatever, marrying their high school sweetheart or their college sweetheart, come out with their degree, get a job making $80,000, and would marry a guy, even if the guy was only making $50,000, $60,000, right? He's making 60, she's making 80. I mean, bro, they can make it happen. They can make it happen. What's that? 140,000? They can qualify for that home. They can go build their family and do their thing. But that woman she's got to pay that student loan back, plus all the credit card debt she has and all the clothes and bags and all that. And I'm not judging. It's like, it is what it is. You got bills. And she's not thinking about starting a family. Like, I got to get my career. My priority is my career. That's the feminist in her. Like, I got to get my own. I got to be independent. Well, by the time she gets all that sorted out, she's going to be well into her 30s and her 40s, just like the guy. Only the guy, now that he has all that stuff, he's looking towards a younger woman. So the women have become the men that they want. This is what shout out to Rollo Tomasi, he says this all the time. Women have become the men that they want to marry. They are the dudes. They are the alpha. And with that means you're going to make more, you're going to have to take care of more, but they don't want to do that. So they're not going to look at a dude. She's making 80. The dude is making 70. Now he ain't making enough. I can't be with him. But if y'all get together, y'all can start to take over the world. Y'all can get y'all first property. Now you're getting, you guys are paying each other's debts down. You got equity in the home. Now you can buy some multifamily properties. Now you got other money coming in. you know, he's gonna work another like second, maybe a third job, right? And then once y'all got a little bit of money set aside, y'all can start having y'all kids. But she doesn't want to build, like Rich Cooper says. Women don't want to build, man. They don't want to build with a dude. They want to wait at the finish line and they want to smash the winners. So that's where we are right now. Right, that's what we are right now. Mandrell was like, women are far too selfish to even realize that they've been doing it wrong. LOL. Hey, man, that's what Mandrell said. That's Mandrell talking. Don't come for me, come for him. You won't see him because he's Green Beret. When he goes into the woods, he disappears. He just blends in. You'll have a hard time finding him. I'm pretty good at hiding in the woods, but he's way better. Let's continue.
Now being pushed to the margins and to the side. And we're not saying pushed to the side like women are kind of, you know, they just play around a little bit. You know, we go out on dates every now and then. You know, we flirt every now and then. They are viewed as zeros, nobodies, invisible. And the numbers will fluctuate depending on the study, but a large percentage of women don't want to make 80K, 100K, 125K, and date a man is making half that.
Yeah,
For sure.
so very few.
And if you plot him in any other point in human history, he'd have a wife and 6 kids, a home that's paid on, and maybe 1 or even 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
So you're taking modern adaptations, modern expectations, and being shocked when environments that's been very hostile to men, they've equated the toxic, negative things that men can do and projected that onto anything pertaining to be a distinction between men and women. That's how it feels. That's how it comes off. I think you both have referenced it at one point about this concept of toxic masculinity. It doesn't exist.
It does.
I'm glad he said that, man. Don DeMarco for that brother for saying that.
Don DeMarco.
Don DeMarco to him for saying that, bro. Like toxic masculinity doesn't exist. Like the sister on the left, the Gen Xer, the one who's married, and she was talking about her grandma and, you know, all that, which is great. Her grandmother lived through the Blitz, bro. Her grandmother was alive when Germany attacked, you know, United Kingdom and the Battle of Britain. She was there for that. Her grandma was walking around when V2 bombs were falling out of the sky, rockets were falling out of the sky, right? If you were to ask that woman or any woman from that era, like, you know, about toxic masculinity, like what was Churchill toxic? Was that a toxic masculine dude when he said, we'll fight them in the hills, we'll fight them in the streets, we'll fight them? Was he toxic when he said that? Absolutely not. Were those brave men of the RAF who jumped in those airplanes, right, and went up there and stopped the Luftwaffe from securing the skies, right, virtually stopping the invasion of Britain, of the Isle, right, their islands? Were they toxic? Those men going up there, getting shot down 2 and 3 times, landing, getting in other airplanes, going up again. Were they toxic? Right? Were all those British citizens who got into their ships, their sailboats, their tugs, their trolleys, whatever, and went over to the shores of Dunkirk to bring back as many soldiers, as many members of the British Expeditionary Force as they could, and French soldiers as well. I think they brought back over 300,000 soldiers. They were hoping to bring back maybe 40,000. They brought back 300,000. These were civilians. Was that toxic masculinity? Right? This is the problem with modern day society, man. We slayed all the dragons and all the demons, man. We did that. We're all victims of our own society. Every time I hear that term toxic masculinity, man, I just laugh and sound like, man, you out of your damn mind. You out of your damn mind. I'm a toxic masculine American male because I have guns. Right? But the minute I use those guns to protect you, oh, thank you for your service. You're not toxic. You're just a good guy. Nah. That's the problem. Women have flipped the script. It's not their fault. This is like third wave feminism. This is where it's gone. They flipped the script. You are alpha now. So you make all the money. That means you need to take care of your significant other because that's what the man does. But no, they still want a man to take care of them. You're making $150,000 a year and you want some dude to take care of you? It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? It's like Mandrill, like it's a fact they can't deny it. And then Mandrill trying to get me in trouble. Talking about women are too selfish. Brother Pitney, man, this guy does sound like he's read Rollo's book. And I guarantee you he hasn't, bro. I put $10 to a donut. He probably doesn't even know who Rollo Tomasi is, bro. I mean, come on now. You know the black community don't really know who Rollo is like that, bro. Like, we know who Kevin Samuels is, but they don't know who Rollo is like that, bro. But this is the mainstream narrative now, bro. This is it. This is where we are, right? Look at America in this last election, right? People still mad. Donald Trump is, president of the United States of America. Whatever. He won the election, right? Why did he win the election? Because the Democrats alienated men. And the Democrats are talking about it now. And the Democrats will probably never win a national election if they keep alienating men. You can't win without men. Period. Republicans know that. MAGA knows that. Right? So this is where we are. And this is why this message is going to be mainstream. This is why we're going to continue to hear this message, especially going into the midterm elections over here in America. And of course, when we roll into the 2028 elections, you're going to hear a lot about this.
There's toxic I'm going to say it as clear as I can. Masculinity and femininity are descriptions of positive behaviors in terms of care, nurture, provision, and protection. That's what it is. That's what being masculine means. That's what being feminine means. Either you're very nurturing and protecting, or you're doing provision and protection. Like that's what it means to be ultra feminine or masculine. The actual terms, that's what they mean.
Yeah.
They are in the affirmative. They are positive things. So when you're calling something a toxic version of it, there's literally is an oxymoron. It's toxic people. There's men that do toxic things.
Okay.
There's women that do toxic things. But when a man steps outside of being a masculine man in a particular scenario, that's not a version of masculinity. He's just being a toxic individual. He's being a toxic man, but that's not a toxic masculinity. Same thing with, there's no toxic femininity. Either you're feminine or you're not. Either you're masculine or you're not.
Right.
So unfortunately, what's happening is these boys, and it's so pervasive. It starts in grade school all the way through the latter years, all the way through college. These are environments that overcorrected. And they switched from, we're in a patriarchal system where we need to factor and prioritize how men feel and men's perspectives on these things, and it overcorrected. This is why in the States, millions and millions of young boys are being diagnosed with ADHD and being put on psychiatric medication.
Right. It's crazy.
Because they're in a system that prioritizes how girls tend to operate, move, function, and think, versus any psychologist worth their salt would know that prepubescent boys and even boys going through puberty, how much extracurricular activity they need, how many various forms of expression they need, how their way of bonding is often physical in nature, how there's a roasting process of just the normal communication, and how that's designed to kind of build up his ability to be able to deal with the world when school is done. So you're shunning, you're penalizing, you're punishing so much of what it means to be a boy and a man. You're having a huge market of people who are getting divorces and are now raising these boys with no father influence. Don't even talk about and ask about what's happening in the Black community. And then you're shocked when there's all this resentment and anger. What did you think was going to happen if you said all men are dogs and they're not needed, and we're questioning whether or not men are valuable, and a huge percentage of homes, father isn't even involved, or like, it just, at some level, you have to acknowledge, like, it makes sense why there's so much anger and resentment. My stance when I talk to young men, or men period, is, so what are you going to do about it?
He's got a good point there. And like in the Black community, especially, man, like it's rough. It's rough out here. I know that when Will Golson and I were talking about this on the podcast, again, we won't start airing the interviews in these episodes. We're just banking them up right now. But in August, we're going to start dropping them. But we talked about this. And one of the things that Will ask is like, well, how do we do better? How do we do better? And what that brother says, like, that's the same, question that he just put to these ladies and to anyone who's listening. What are we going to do about it? Right? What are we going to do about it? And the question is probably nothing. They're not going to do anything about it because they just don't want to. Scott Galloway, I'm always talking about Scott Galloway because he's prominent, bro. Multi-millionaire, professor. He has a big platform, blue pill as you can get. But to your point, Brother Pitney, like these same talking points, these same conclusions, everything, it doesn't matter, red pill or blue pill, you're going to come to the same conclusion. You're going to wind up in the same place, right? And what Scott Galloway was saying is like, you guys, they look at the red pill, they look at Andrew Tate, they look at Myron Gaines, they look at whoever they want to look at, right? The boogeyman of the manosphere, right? And they're like, we don't want our men to be like that. And then like the left answer to that is, well, we want our men to be more like women. So watch media, watch CNN, MSNBC, right? ABC, NBC, CBS, watch mainstream media, watch mainstream television or whatever, like these shows on Netflix and on these platforms, right? You see how men look more and more like women. They're softer and more docile, and they argue and they're feisty. You know what I mean? They doing all this, they doing this. Men are. That's not a masculine man. So Scott Galloway says the left, American left, the liberals, their argument is to make men more like women. That's not the answer. That's not the answer. Right? And that is, Galloway says, you definitely catch, Scott Galloway has been on Diary of a CEO a couple times. Check those episodes out, guys. And I mean, he's all over the place. We definitely gonna break down some more of the stuff that he's been saying. But this brother, Scott Galloway, man, and all of the people we already know, like we know what needs to happen. The question is society going to allow it to happen? Right. Manjo's right. Masculinity is not toxic. I'm a paratrooper, man. Trained to jump out of airplanes, bro, behind enemy lines, man, and get some. Is that toxic? Like, is it? The men who landed in Normandy back in 1940, what was that, 1944? The Canadians, the Brits, right? The Australians, the Americans, the French, the Free French, everyone who landed there. Was that toxic? Landing on those beaches, Gold, Juno, Sword, Utah, and Omaha Beach. The losses were staggering. Those paratroopers who jumped in, right? Their losses were staggering. Was that toxic? No, it wasn't toxic. That was men doing what men had to do to save the world. And they saved the world. Let's continue.
Because the reality is, any client that comes in, what if I was to tell you, you don't have any control over anybody else? The market's the market. Women are women. Their standards are their standards. You can cry about it. You can be depressed about it. You can avoid it. Or you can look in the mirror and say, I don't match up to most of the things that most women want. And I can either do something about it or nothing about it. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do something about it, we can come up with a treatment plan for the next 6 weeks, 6 months of how you can radically improve yourself, how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem, your motivation, your body, your health, putting you in certain scenarios where you're going to build up the experience you need to feel more confident and comfortable, build up your career and resume. And I promise you, you're probably going to have significantly different outcomes. I've seen.
Wow. Did he just say, in other words, that we're going to come up with a plan so you can become the best version of yourself? Is that what he, could we argue, paraphrasing, that's what he said, right? The number one male manosphere talking point, become the best version of yourself. Do the work. Lead from the front. Did he just say that? This guy is as blue pill as they come. He don't know anything about the red pill world. I guarantee you he don't know anything about the red pill world. He doesn't need to. He's a professional licensed therapist. Right? What did Myron Gaines say about being competent, man? confidence and competency. What did Myron Gaines say? He talks about that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like Brother Penny was saying, you would think this dude read Rollo's book. You would think this guy was watching Fresh and Fit 2 years ago. It's the same talking points. If you look at the problem that we have in our community, by community, I mean our country, here in the U.S., also in the UK, if you look at it and you want to solve the problem, you're going to wind up right here. This is where you're going to wind up, bro. This is where logic leads you.
A whole lot of ugly short men with some beautiful women.
Absolutely.
I've seen it.
We love
I've seen
Short
it.
King.
But what he did was he put the work in,
Yeah,
so that he had the options. So the incel culture is based on men or young boys that are extremely frustrated and angry about not so much the access to sex, because they can go and outsource and pay for that.
sure.
It's actually the lack of feeling someone is attracted to you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, and a couple part, it's not just the frustration with the lack of attraction from the opposite sex, like nobody wants me, nobody values me. It's also the second part, the unwillingness to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that pool of young boys or men, when they're surrounding themselves by people who talk this way, that are super negative, that's constantly downing and saying the market's unfair, women have changed, what's wrong with them? Why do I gotta make six figures in order for them to even go on date? Like, what the heck is going on?
Right? Those guys are like, this is too hard. When? I don't want to do the work. When? I want it to be easy. When? My mama told me everybody gets a trophy. When? That's the problem. And life hits them in the face, crushes their face in. Like, oh yeah, it ain't like that. Everyone gets a trophy. Not in the real world, they don't. Only the winners win. You want to get this stuff, you want to get in, you want to get down, you want to be seen, you better learn how to be a winner. That's what's going on right now, people. Brother Donnie in the building. What's good, fam? Don DeMarco for you.
Dom DeMarco.
It's like facts. Most guys are in control of everything in their life, but society teaches come as you are, but truthfully, it's not good enough. So what you gonna do about it? Facts, bro. Facts.
While those of us as men learn the game and realize don't hate the game,
Don't hate
learn the
player.
game and get in, you got other players or people who are sitting on the sidelines so pissed off that they're not getting any starting time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching a basketball game, if you're watching a soccer game, you got to put in the work in practice. You got to work with a coach. You have to work on your own. You got to work on your coordination, your speed. You got to build up your muscle mass. You have to put in the work to justify you getting the playing time to get on the field and or the court.
Mm-hmm.
The incels, they're at a space either because of exposure, not working with men like myself or people like myself, where they don't know that much of what they're struggling and dealing with is the consequence that women have changed.
Mm-hmm.
We are in modernity, but also an unwillingness to look in the mirror of things they need to change internally. So that's actually what's going on.
Don't hate the player, we hate the game. That's the end of that one. We're gonna do a part 2, man, because they did there's another part to this where he gets into like the laws and stuff like that. So we're gonna do that, bro, probably tomorrow. Tomorrow I will have some time after 8. So I will probably you know what? I'll have some time before 8. So just be looking for the thumbnail, guys. Be looking for the thumbnail. Shout out to them sisters for putting that together. I said Don DeMarco.
Dom DeMarco.
That was fly. We're gonna do part 2 tomorrow, guys. We're gonna do part 2. I'll make the thumbnail, get it all out there. It should be sometime between 6 and 8. It'll be sometime between 6 and 8. We're gonna do a part 2. We're gonna have to go through that. It's another like hour. I think it is. So it'll probably take me, 2.5 hours to get through it. But I think it's worth it. I think it's definitely worth the conversation and to point these things out. I can't stress enough how this dude is not red pill. This dude is blue pill. He's not part of the manosphere. Like, this is a regular mainstream media guy who's out there in the real world talking about this thing. This is where the problem has gotten right now. And I think it's a good thing. I think this is a good thing, guys. I think that, it's, there are going to be those people out there who are going to say red pill bad, manosphere is bad. They're going to point to the takes and they're going to point to the Myron Gangsters of the world. I'm like, look how bad these guys are. But they never point to psych hacks. They never point to Michael Sertain. They never point to James Sexton, right? And they're gonna have to start pointing at, Professor Scott Galloway, and they're gonna have to start pointing at this guy right here, this Jeff St. James guy, right? It's these guys need help, right? And like I said, man, get mad if you want to, but do something about it, man. Don't hate the player, hate the game. You want to start, you want to win, you need to, like he said, you got to start getting out here doing the work. I got a buddy of mine, he got me into this basketball league, man. It's 35 and up. I'm way older than that, like 20 years older than that. But I'm out there on the court with these 35 and up guys trying to play basketball, bro. And it's been a tough season. Well, 8 games, we get a couple bye weeks. So, like, we're off this week, but then we play next week. And then we go into a tournament to see who's gonna, actually win the league. And bro, I'm here to tell you, man, when I talk about, you want to talk about pain, we've played, how many games have we played right now? We played 7 games so far. 7 games. We're 4-3. Right? If we win our next game, we'll end the regular season 5-3 going into the playoffs. And then we'll see what we do in the tournament. But bro, I'm out there with my old ass every single game hurt, bro. I'm talking about before we start. We play 2 halves, 20-minute halves. So it's like 2 20-minute halves. We've been running up until last week. We've been running with basically 6 dudes. It's like Iron Man basketball, bro. Like, it's crazy. And I'm out there barely able to run. But you know what? Because I got that airborne mentality, bro, I ain't a quitter. I said I was going to do this. I'm going to see it through to the end. I'm out there doing what I can, just trying to hustle. And guess what? Every game I got better. Every game I recovered a little bit faster. I ain't going to lie. My doctor's mad at me, man. I shouldn't be out there. I should not be out there. I definitely got some Achilles issues. There's some stuff. I don't care. I wrap my ankles up real tight. I wrap my knees up, and I'm out there, bro. But every game I feel better. And we had a game a couple weeks ago where nothing really hurt, but I was out there hustling. Hey, everybody saw it too. Like, oh, shit, look at Saint. He can actually run this week. I'm like, bro, don't nothing hurt. And I got the first half, man. I was doing my thing, had 4 points. You know what I mean? Probably had like 6 assists. Got a couple rebounds. Man, I was hustling. Second half started. Lost my calf. It's like, uh-oh. I was running. Everybody saw it too. Like, whoop, whoop, uh-oh. But I kept playing. Right? And then we had a bye week, and I was able to work on that, get that healed up. So I'm looking forward to our last game. I'm going to this last game, bro. I'm trying to get 6, maybe 10 points. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get me at least 5, 6 assists. Want to give me like 4 or 5 rebounds, but I'm going hard. But that's the mentality you got to have, man. You got to go out here and go hard at life, bro. Or you can lay down and give up. And that's the problem with the younger generations, man. They all want to just lay down and give up, man. Like, nah, you got to work for it. Nah, they want their participation award. Nah, bro, you got to work for it. So that's the message that I'm going to be trying to get out there. Like I said, this is no longer just in the fringes, man. This is no longer the manosphere, the manoswamp stuff, bro. This is no longer red pill. This is mainstream. This is mainstream, bro. And hopefully we'll be able to solve for this problem. Hopefully we will be able to solve for this problem. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this tomorrow. And then tomorrow, I think we'll have time to actually drop the link and see who wants to come up and talk. I know Mandrella come up and talk. You know what I mean? It's always a pleasure to talk to my brother. But we'll drop the link tomorrow if we have enough time. And, I found that Bill Burr bit about why men cheat or whatever, the gold diggers. We'll probably play that tomorrow if we have time. Let me drop it in the chat if you guys want to see it. Oh, here it is. Let me drop it in the chat. You guys want this is funny. And Bill Burr is definitely my favorite comedian. Check that out, guys. There it is right there. You know, hit that link and check out that video if you want to laugh. But I will see you guys tomorrow, man. I hope, you know, like share this one with folks, man. Like definitely, you know, send this to folks, clip this, send it out, because this is how we can help, especially young men and even older guys too, mid-range, old guys. This is how we can help, man. Let's get them out there like, hey, bro, this is how it's done. This is how it's done, man. It's people, we can help you. We can help you get on your feet. We can, you know what I mean, walk you through this, bro. It is what it is, man. It's gonna hurt. Just like playing basketball. I knew it was gonna hurt, but it's still fun. It's still rewarding. Feels good. It don't hurt as much when you win. That's another thing too, bro. You learned in football, man. It don't hurt as much when you win. And we won last week. We won in a close one. We pulled it out. I think we won by 6 in the end. I was sore, but you know what? It didn't hurt as much in that win. The week before that, we lost 2 in a row. We had to play 2 games. And we lost 2 straight. And I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I was in agony. But when we won this past week, shit, it's feeling good. Feeling good. And I thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Brother Dino over in UK, man, I appreciate you, man. I'm glad I'm back too. So let me get up out of here, man. I gotta get ready for bed. I gotta get up early and do some things. But we will be back tomorrow sometime between 6 and 8. We're gonna do part 2. We're gonna finish the rest of this video because they did a part 2. I'm gonna reach out to those sisters over UK and see if I can't collab with them, maybe extend the conversation. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna reach out. I'll let you guys know what they say. Fingers crossed. Hopefully they'll rock with us. And if they do, I'm sure they'll love being on this platform, man, because, you know, we're all respectable gentlemen over here. So thanks for rocking out with me, guys. I appreciate y'all, man. It's time for me to go. I got to get some sleep. I will see y'all tomorrow. Yo, be good, live good, man. Tell your people that you love them. And I'm going to holler at y'all later. I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.